Good afternoon, friends. I'm Dr. Aajay Shah. Uh, this is our Facebook Live on happiness. We've been doing this Facebook Live for last 3 months on a regular basis. Last week we had figured out how to do Facebook Live with slides, but as I understand, Facebook and Zoom has changed their protocol, and I'm not able to show the slides. But obviously, I promised the slide today, so I'm going to go ahead and do without slides. Uh, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos without the slides, and they're very good even without slides. But I promise that we will do the same Facebook Live in about a week or so once we figure out how to show the slides. So today's topic is very important. Matter of fact, over the last 6 months, I realized that if you want to stay physically healthy, we have to be mentally healthy also. And mental health obviously requires a significant amount of happiness and significant amount of work. So today's topic is happiness, the ultimate currency we should aim for. So as we talk, some people have $1,000 in their life. Some people have $1,000,000 in their life. Some people have $1,000,000,000 in their life. So there are a lot of currency. Some people think that dollar is strong. Some people think British pound is strong. Some people think the yen is strong. So a lot of people think that different currencies are strong. Some people have large house. Some people have small house. Some people have a simple car. Some people have very expensive car. So people think that all those type of things are the true currency in their life. But let me tell you today I'm going to try my best to prove that happiness is the best currency. Happiness actually is the biggest equalizer. A rich person can be happy, a poor person can be happy, a black person can be happy, a white person can be happy. So happiness, in my opinion, is the biggest equalizer we can aim for. We all can be happy regardless of what money we have or not. So this is going to be a longer live. I have prepared a lot of slides. I prepared pretty much a comprehensive talk on happiness. Hopefully you will like it. Once again, we don't have slides. We will be doing another live in a few days with slides on, so you will enjoy it more. My slides have come out great. A lot of pictures, a lot of quotes, but unfortunately I'm not able to show the slide. So hopefully you will enjoy it without slides. So let's start. So as we all know, particularly if you are in America, that our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence clearly says that life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Again, life, liberty, and most importantly, pursuit of happiness. Our great president, Abraham Lincoln, said that most folks are about as happy as they make up their mind to be. So again, happiness we think is mostly in the mind, and we will go over the lectures what happiness depends upon. Great ballerina dancer Anna Pavlova from Russia said a very famous quote: "The right to happiness is fundamental." So our right to happiness is a basic right, and in my opinion, every human on this earth has a right to be happy. Viktor Frankl, the great psychologist from Holocaust area, clearly said that if you pursue the happiness, actually it will thwart the chances of you getting happiness. So there is a theory that if you run after happiness, happiness will run away from you. But if you do certain things in life, happiness will come towards you actually. So again, running towards happiness or pursuing happiness is not the answer. Actually, they said that happiness ensues, not you can pursue. So again, if you do certain things in life, happiness will come to you, but you cannot go after happiness. Again, just quick disclaimer. This lecture obviously does not replace any medical care from your physician. If you have any mental illness, if you're feeling that you're going through depression, reach out to your physician. Obviously, I don't have any financial interest or I don't have any financial gain from this lecture. Special thanks, my dedication to Jayshree, my wife, 35 years we've been married. So again, big thanks to her. She's been a big part of this movement. Definitely thank you to our son Amish, Saloni, our daughter, my parents, and definitely a big thanks to our social media manager, Hannah, who has been very instrumental in making our movement a household thing. We have almost about 9,000 followers. We are on YouTube, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are on Instagram. We post various recipes, various things on Instagram on a daily basis. We are also on Twitter. So big thanks to Hannah. And obviously big thanks to all the mentors where I've learned a lot of different lifestyle pillars. Definitely a big thank to our followers, because when I teach, I actually learn. When I listen to our patient stories, our follower stories, and I try to solve their issues and problems, I actually learn for myself. So the biggest thanks goes to our followers. So how this seminar is divided. This seminar is the first thing, why we need this seminar. So I'll try to prove that we need this seminar very badly in the world, definitely very badly in America. We'll go through some definitions. We'll see what does not make us happy. So we'll go through things, what does not make us happy. So at least we can get that out of the way. The things which do not make us happy, we can probably pursue them less. And then we'll go through what makes us happy. So at least if we do those things, hopefully chances of becoming happy will be higher. How to create good habits to be happy. So we'll have some methods and some tricks how to create good habits. And definitely I will have some conclusions, and then I will have your home assignment. So I will have some homework for you, which you can start from tomorrow on the path towards happiness. Why I'm able to give this seminar? Number one, I love to learn. I definitely love to learn. Matter of fact, I'll show you my character signature strengths. Number one was love to learn. So I love to learn, and more importantly, I love to teach and I love to share what I have learned. I'm board certified in lifestyle medicine, and mental health is a major pillar in lifestyle medicine. Matter of fact, cardiology ignores some of the lifestyle pillars, and as I have gone through lifestyle medicine board certification, I've learned that we all need to go with the lifestyle medicine more than any specialty. I'm obviously board certified in cardiology also for the last 25 years. Learning together is fun. When we do it together, we do it with ease. We bounce ideas with each other. We motivate each other. We promote each other. So some of these lectures I give actually is a group exercise or group learning. Definitely after I'm 57 now, definitely I've done my life now, whatever next many years, hopefully next 50 years, a mission to make as many people healthy as possible. And most importantly, I do care about you. I think the reason for doing this movement, reason for giving this Facebook Live on a regular basis, because I care about you. I think I feel what you go through, particularly with this COVID-19 crisis. I feel what you go through on an everyday basis. I've gone through myself as a patient with a major depression 10 years ago. So I know what many of you go through, and I feel what you go through, and I definitely care about you. So let's see what authors and who I have followed. I call them the giants in psychology. Number one person is Martin Seligman. Martin Seligman is the father of positive psychology. He is the founder of positive psychology, and he has written many books. He has written books called Learn Optimism, Flourish, Authentic Happiness. Please refer to him, watch him on YouTube videos, and definitely read his books if you can. Other person is Ed Diner. Next person is Barbara Fredrickson. I just love her books. I read her book called Positivity, one of the best books I've read. As a matter of fact, I read that book in one setting. She also has written another book called Love 2.0, a great book for couples. There's another author, Sonia Lubomirsky. She's also another great psychologist. She has written a book called How of Happiness, a great book. I also again read it in one setting. She also has written another book called Myths of Happiness. The next person is Daniel Gilbert, a great funny psychologist. He has written many books. One of the books I like what he has written is Stumbling on Happiness. The next one is Robert Emmons. He has written books on gratitude and how the gratitude can help you. There's another book by Liz Dunn. She has written a book called Happy Money, how you can make money and how you can turn the money into providing you happiness. Most people think happiness brings, money brings unhappiness. but actually she proves that if you have extra money, you can do a lot of things which can bring happiness. A great book, great read. One of my another favorite author is Rich Hanson. Rich Hanson. He has written a book called Resilient, Buddha's Brain. I've read all of his books also. Nick Apley is another psychologist. Gabrielle Oettingen, she's another psychologist who has designed a WOOP method, which we will cover in our talk. Another big psychologist from Harvard, I absolutely love him, is Tal Ben-Shahar. Tal Ben-Shahar, he has written a book called Happier, a great book. Next is Howard Cutler. And then the next favorite person is Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He's also written a book called Flow, a great book. I hope I didn't kill his name. Next person is Alan Langer, and then Gretchen Rubin. She has written a book called Happiness Project. Another great author I follow is also Paul Stolz. Paul Stolz. He has written a book called Adversity Quotient. And the last book, which I also absolutely love, is by Dalai Lama called Art of Happiness. So over last 6 months, more so 6 months, I have read probably 20 books on happiness and well-being. I watched probably 200 hours of video on happiness and well-being. And today's 2 hour of talk, matter of fact, is a culmination of all the things I have learned. And I have tried my best to summarize in 2 hours what I have learned in about 200 hours. So hopefully you will like it. Obviously you can explore your own way. You can learn your own way. But hopefully these 2 hours will give you a jump start on reading and learning more about happiness. Because like I said, ultimately happiness is the ultimate currency. This talk is going to have 9 parts. So long talk, 9 parts. I'm going to give you after each part some reflection, some thinking to do. So this is going to be more like an interactive workshop. So you will be not just a listener, but you will be an active participant. When you watch these videos will be on YouTube also. So watch them in sequence. Hopefully I'll make the YouTube videos with slides, but watch them in sequence. If you like this thing, go ahead and comment right now while you are watching live, or have a like, share with your Facebook feed so other people can watch it too. So thank you again for joining. I have to give a big thanks to a great course by Yale called Science of Well-Being. Science of Well-Being. It's a free course on Coursera. And it's by one of my favorite favorite psychologists, Laurie Santos. She's very young. She is all Ivy League trained, and she has done a phenomenal job in giving this course called Science of Well-Being. It takes about 12 to 14 hours to watch the show. I watched that course for at least twice, if not more. I've taken very detailed notes, and many of my slides are based on that course. So I'll be periodically thanking her. But matter of fact, if you want to go to the horse's mouth, go to her course. It's worth watching the course. I would watch it. It takes 12 to 14 hours. At least listen to what I have to say today, and a lot of the summaries are coming from that course. So again, a great course to go to, Science of Well-Being. There's also a podcast from Laurie Santos called Happiness Lab, a great podcast to listen to. So let's go through our first part, why this seminar is needed. Why this seminar is needed. This seminar is needed badly in America. Depression is becoming very common. 10% of Americans are on antidepressant. 10%. That number has gone almost 4 times more in the last 40 years. And we'll see why more and more people are on antidepressant. Probably functional depression, where a lot of people are depressed and they are functioning quote unquote normally. Matter of fact, they think they are functioning normally, society thinks they are functioning normally, but they are not at their highest potential. So there are a lot of functional depression patients who are not even on medicine, who are not even in the medical system. They are not even seeing doctors for their illness of depression. Average age for starting depression now has gone down to 14. So a lot of patients at younger and younger age are getting depression at age 14. Anxiety is about 20% of Americans. Anxiety is about 20%. Anxiety are about 20% of Americans, so anxiety has become a major issue in America. Suicide rate is increasing. Matter of fact, last 3 years, longevity has gone down in America, and one of the major reason is young age suicide. Obviously, other reason is opioid crisis. 40% of Americans are actually unhappy with their life. 40% of Americans are unhappy with life. And imagine, we live in the richest nation in the world. We live in the strongest nation in the world. And despite of that, 40% of Americans are actually unhappy. If you look at the United Kingdom, in Britain, almost 64% of people are unhappy. 64% of people in the United Kingdom, in Britain, are unhappy. So unhappiness has significantly gone up over the last 30 or 40 years. Emotional bankruptcy rate is very high. I call it emotional bankruptcy. A lot of people are rich, but they are bankrupt emotionally. Like I said, depression drugs are almost 4 times more than 30 or 40 years ago. Now we have a new insight. Now we have a new insight on what works with the mental disorders and what things can make us happy. So there are definitely new learning, new insight, and I think it's time to share those new insights. And today I'm going to try my best to share those insights. We definitely need a societal change. We need public policy to make the whole country happy, not just few people in the country happy. We need to take the whole country on the ride of how to become happy. Recent college graduates, 40% are unhappy. Imagine college graduate with a lot of dreams, a lot of education, a lot of resources, a lot of zeal to work hard, and 40% of them are unhappy. College graduates and college students, anxiety and depression rate is very high. Workplace happiness also has gone down. 50% of people at work are unhappy. 50%. We'll go through why that's the case. And obviously, no matter where you are, we all can be happier. If you are 90% happy, you can be 95% happier. So again, we all need to be happier. And obviously, we are all going through this COVID-19 crisis, and that has brought some stress, that has brought some happiness. So this seminar is very much needed right now as we are going through the COVID-19 crisis. So let's talk why people in America are more and more antidepressant. Like I said, depression rate has gone up. It's almost 4 times more than 40 years ago. So true prevalence has gone up. We have better screening and diagnosis for depression. We have more psychologists and more psychiatrists in this country. So obviously, earlier and quicker diagnosis is possible now. We have better drugs with less side effects. So that way, more and more patients are able to take it and able to tolerate it. So that's the reason more people are on antidepressant. More and more people are wanting the medications. A lot of people are saying that we need a medicine for our depression. Obviously, many of them think that's a quick fix, and they are not employing other techniques how to come out of depression. We'll talk about it. Overall stress has gone up in America over the last 50 years. Physical health has gone down. A lot of people are having chronic disease, and obviously, as we know, chronic disease is one of the major reasons for stress, a major reason for depression. And in America, we have now stronger consumerism, means that more and more people are becoming materialistic, and a lot of social media has penetrated everybody's life, and that definitely has increased our stress and possibly has caused some depression. And that's the reason I think more and more people are on antidepressant. So let's go through definitions. If you look at the Merriam-Webster definition of happiness, it says that it's a state of well-being and contentment. Just a simple definition, a state of well-being and contentment. Other definition of happiness is just a joy. Other definition of happiness is a pleasurable and satisfying experience. So, different way happiness has been described. If you look at the root word of happiness is hap, H-A-P-P, hap, and hap actually means luck. So, it's pretty interesting that hap means luck. So, we sometimes think that happiness comes because of our good luck. But I'm going to prove you that happiness is not dependent upon your luck. Matter of fact, you can be happy, regardless of what your luck is. I have a slide, wish you can see it, but I'm going to read it. Blaise Pascal said that everything without exception is searching for happiness. So again, everyone is definitely searching for happiness. So where does the final why question end? Like we always ask, like Socrates, why? So let me tell you a short story about a CEO. On an ocean, a simple fisherman was just relaxing and resting. And a CEO of a big company was passing by, hopefully on a small vacation, and he asked the fisherman, "Why are you just sitting? Why don't you go and fish?" So fisherman said, "Why?" And CEO says, "If you fish, maybe one day you can make some money and you can buy a bigger boat and you can fish bigger." And the fisherman says, "Why?" And CEO says that if you have a bigger boat, eventually maybe you have a company and you employ some people. And fisherman says, "Why?" He says, "Well, you will make a lot of money." I said, "Why?" "Well, then you will have a bigger house and you will have a great life partner." And fisherman says, "Why?" And he says, "Well, then you'll be happy." So fisherman says, "What? I'm happy already right now. Why would I go through the whole cycle of what you just described to be happy? I'm already happy." So again, all questions, why you want to go through college, why you want to get good grades, why you want to get a good job, everything ends, the final question, in my opinion, everything ends with happiness. So last question, why you want to do that, is because I want to be happy. So again, all why questions end with happiness. And that's the reason I am going to prove it, that happiness is the ultimate currency. If you have currency of happiness, you'll be the richest person in the world. You don't need money, you don't need house, you don't need anything. Just have happiness. So is happiness a right term? Happiness actually can be transient. If I go for a walk in nature for 1 hour, I can be happy. But my day, my week, my month, my year, my life can be unhappy. So happiness is a transient term. So better term has been given, and it's called well-being. We'll talk about it. Well-being is more of a long-term state. There's also another term described called flourishing by Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology. And flourishing means you're not just stagnant with happiness, but actually you are flourishing. We'll talk about flourishing also. So again, goal is not just to be happy because it could be transient, but goal is to have a well-being, and goal is to be flourishing, so we are growing in our happiness journey. So again, why to be happy? A valid question, because I keep describing happiness is a great thing to have, but do we have a proof? Like, why to be happy? Happiness provides you better physical health. It gives you better mental health, less anxiety, less depression. It provides you more material success. Happy people actually are very successful people. It provides you longevity. It provides you better relationship, better marriage. It provides you better sleep. It makes you more creative. It makes you more productive. It gives you better leadership skills. So happy people are better leaders. Happy people create more happy people. Happiness actually contributes to society. Happiness lowers the healthcare costs. People who are happy donate more money, donate more time. People who are happy are better citizens. People who are happy, they are trusting each other more. People who are happy in those society, there are less crime. People who are happy have a better democracy. Most democratic countries need happiness. Happier people are kinder people. We'll talk about that. Happier people actually are more satisfied at their job. They actually make more money for themselves, and they actually increase their company worth of their company. Corporations where there are happy workers actually have higher chance of success. Actually, is a proof that corporations where there are happy workers have a higher stock price. And actually, there are surveys now done which corporations are happy corporations. And corporations which have employees are happy, they are more creative. And as you all know, Google provides a significant amount of work environment to make people happy. So this ends our first segment. First segment is ended. So let's do some reflection. On a happiness scale, 1 to 5, how happy you feel yourself? 5 means very, very happy. 1 means not happy at all. So again, on a scale of 1 to 5, where do you feel happy? We'll talk about how you can rate yourself. But just to start, a simple rating on a scale of 1 to 5, how happy you are. So if you are on live with us, or if you're watching later on, just write down on your phone or on a paper how happy you are. And we'll go through the lecture, what else you can do to rate your happiness. So I'll give you a few seconds. How happy you are. The next question is to reflect is, what are some of the things which has made you happy? So make a list on your phone or on a paper. List what things have made you happy. I will prove it that what else can make you happy as we go through the lecture. Next is, what things you think have made you unhappy? What things you have made you unhappy? So make a list on your phone or list on a paper, and we'll prove it that sometimes there are a lot of myths of happiness and unhappiness. You think what makes you happy, what makes you unhappy. Actually, there are a lot of myths. So again, this was our segment number 1. Segment number 1 ends. I wish you can see the slides. Hopefully, I'll repeat this Facebook Live with slides, and you will absolutely love the slides. Hannah, our social media person, has put in a lot of time on the slides, but today we couldn't show it, so sorry for that. Again, this was segment number 1. We are on Facebook. If you are watching, comment or like, answer the questions. This will be on YouTube, so go on YouTube and watch it. And definitely share this video with your friends and your followers, and share our page with your friends. So let's start segment number 2. Again, the same disclaimer. This is not a replacement of a medical care you need. Again, this is Dr. Shah, segment number 2 of the happiness lecture. It starts with a quote from Adam Smith, the great author of Wealth of Nations. It says that what can be added to the happiness of a man who is in health, who is out of debt, and has a clear conscience. So again, a great statement that who has health, who is out of debt, and who has a clear conscience, by Adam Smith. Let's go through some ancient philosophy. My favorite ancient philosopher, Greek philosopher, Aristotle, and we'll repeat his quote at the end of this talk. Aristotle clearly said that happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim, and the end of human existence. A great quote. Essentially, he says happiness is everything. Happiness is everything. Great quote from Aristotle. In Bible, it clearly says, let us leave sadness to the devil, and as for us, what can we but rejoicing and glad? So clearly happiness has been described in Bible. Another great quote from Bible, the joyfulness of man prolong his days. That means happy people live long. And again, great quote from Gita, Hindu scripture, that happiness is a state of mind and has nothing to do with external things. So again, great quotes from ancient philosophy. Happiness has been described, discussed, and has been promoted for the last 3,000 to 4,000 years, 5,000 years. So let's go through how this evolution of psychology has happened. Before 1980, the traditional psychology actually was pretty much into analysis, diagnosis, and treatment of mental disorders like depression, anxiety, and many other mental disorders. And at that time, the thought was that happiness or a patient's mental state can be brought from, for example, -8 to -2 or maximum to 0. So at that time, it was thought that we can improve on mental illnesses. But at that time, it was not thought, it was not much discussed, how can we make a happy person happier? So traditional psychology, maximum it can do is bring a person down to a state of 0, a level of 0. And many times we have realized that this, without the mental illness, you bring down to level 0, which is more like an empty level, now bringing you to the flourishing level of 8 or 10. And actually, matter of fact, Schopenhauer and Sigmund Freud said that maximum we can do is avoid misery. Maximum we can do is avoid misery. So there was a prevailing psychology, traditional psychology before 1980s. And in 1980s and after, a great work was done towards positive psychology, and the goal was to not only bring people out of mental illness, but also make people happier. People who are on a scale of 2 on happiness, bring them up to the level of 8 on happiness. So again, positive psychology was starting to take place, and Martin Seligman, one of my great author and read on YouTube, Martin Seligman clearly considered the founder of positive psychology, the father of positive psychology, clearly brought that field to a new level, new front in terms of positive psychology. So I want you to listen and read more about positive psychology. Listen to Martin Seligman YouTube, one of the great speaker, one of the great person. I really admire him. So how to use this seminar? Again, I've taken some of these talking points from the Coursera course from Yale, from Lori Santos, and she clearly says that knowing is not enough. Knowing is not enough. We have a lot of knowledge, but until we put in action, until we discipline ourselves, knowledge is not enough. And she gives this G.I. Joe fallacy where if you know how to cross the street by looking at the right and by looking at the left, if you know that fact, but when you're crossing the street, if you don't look at the right, if you don't look at the left, just the knowledge is not going to get you out of an accident. So again, knowledge is good, knowledge is necessary, but action and discipline is more important. So today's lecture, listen to it, learn from it, but start applying it. Again, start applying it. That's how I want you to be. Listen to the lecture, but apply it. So where do you stand with happiness? We talked about it that on a scale of 1 to 5, some of you wrote it down. So we'll see what else can you do. There's a thing called PERMA, P-E-R-M-A. We'll describe PERMA in a few seconds. There's a thing called Authentic Happiness Inventory. Authentic Happiness Inventory. There's a thing called Flourishing Index. Flourishing Index. We'll talk about that also. And again, also what words you use in your day-to-day life also can predict how happy you are. Matter of fact, we'll talk about it. There are some data that if you record people's talk of half an hour, there are computer algorithms which can actually predict how happy people are. And matter of fact, there are some data on evaluating the commonly used words for the whole community on a Facebook or on a Twitter and predicting how well the community well-being is also from those words. So there are a lot of data on how we use the words. So the next concept is called flourishing. Flourishing is a very important concept because happiness is not a stationary destination. It's not something you reach there and you stay there. If you are happy today, you need to be happier tomorrow. So again, that's called flourishing. That means you are growing, you are progressing on the journey of happiness. And this was again a term by Martin Seligman, again a great author, great psychologist. And now we have individual flourishing. That means how much flourishing you are now, how much your community is flourishing, how much a nation is flourishing, how much the world is flourishing. So I ask you, can you guess who is the most flourishing nation in the world right now? I'll give you a few seconds. Guess or write it down. It's not America, I can tell you that. Even though we are the richest and the strongest nation in the world, it's not America. The most flourishing nation in the world is Denmark, actually, Denmark. And we'll talk about that also. So let's talk about what is more than happiness. I think we need to have well-being. Well-being is a better way of describing what we need to be than the happiness. So well-being. So well-being depends upon we call PERMA, P-E-R-M-A. So look up PERMA. I'll show you how to look it up. PERMA stands for P for positive emotions. P for positive emotions. We will discuss it later. E for engagement. R for relationship. M for meaning and purpose. And A for achievements. Again, PERMA. P-E-R-M-A. Now, PERMA can be measured individually. PERMA can be measured for community. PERMA can be measured for nation. We'll talk about that. And PERMA actually can be increased by intentions, by actions, by habits, by disciplines, and by some coaching. So PERMA can be increased. So if your PERMA score right now comes out slightly low, don't worry, it can be increased. So why PERMA? Like I talked about it, pleasure and happiness can be transient. You can be happy today, but you could be unhappy for this year. So again, you need a well-being, you need a long-term happiness. That's what the PERMA can decide. PERMA can give you how long-term happy you are. Like again, alcohol can give you happiness for 2 hours. Drugs can give you happiness. Psychotic delusions can give you quote-unquote feeling of happiness. But those are not those are not the way of being quote unquote happy. You need a PERMA. You need all the 5 factors to be having well-being. You need all the 5 factors. So how can you take PERMA test? You can go to a University of Pennsylvania website, UPenn, University of Pennsylvania website, and you can take a PERMA test. You can also take a same website, Authentic Happiness Inventory Test. So I took my own PERMA test just about a month ago. I scored 9.67 on positive emotions. I scored 9 on engagement. I scored 9 on relationship. I scored 9 on meaning and purpose. I scored 9 on achievements. And it goes from 0 to 10 scale. So I scored pretty high. I was very happy with it. My health score was also 9. My negative emotions, which we should have less and less, was extremely low. It was, as a matter of fact, below 1. It was only 0.33. Truly, I don't have any negative emotions. I try to be as positive as I can. And my overall well-being score, and that's what we should follow, was 9.13. So I was very happy. So I want all of you to take your PERMA test as soon as this lecture is over or by tomorrow. Again, a PERMA test. Next concept is called signature strength. Signature strength. This is a newer concept. It's very important. We all have certain characteristics, certain qualities, certain signature strengths. Signature strengths are described as something which is inherent to us, something can be measured, something can be increased. And there are 24 various signature strengths are proposed. 24. And then when you practice this signature strength, when you practice what are your strengths, you actually have a very higher chance of being happy, less chance of depression, less chance of anxiety. So we'll go through the signature strength also. And again, practicing signature strength is very valuable. So take your signature strength test at a website called VIA, Character Strength Test, VIA. Again, it's a free test. PERMA is also free. You don't have to pay anything for that. And VIA signature strength test. If you take your signature strength test today or tomorrow and know what your signature strengths are. So let's go through what my signature strength test came back. My signature strength, number 1 strength came back after I took about 30-minute test was love of learning. And I think it's a true assessment because I absolutely love learning. I read at least 200 pages every day. I love reading since I was like 5 years old. Matter of fact, I finished a children's section on our library in the town I grew up, by the time I was like 9th or 10th grade. So I absolutely love learning. I love reading. And I also love teaching also. My second signature strength was gratitude. I believe it's an accurate assessment. Third one was fairness. I'm a very fair person. Next one was hope. Next one was forgiveness. And obviously go through all the 24 strengths. So I want you to take the signature strength test when you are done with this lecture. So let's reflect now. This is the end of second segment. Where do you grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on well-being before you take the PERMA test? Again, we took the test about 1 to 5. Now let's look at the well-being. Happiness versus well-being. So you know what the PERMA is based on PERMA. Again, positive emotions, engagement, relationship, meaning and purpose to the life, and achievements. What do you think you are? When you take PERMA test, you will know your scale 1 to 10, but what is your guess? My next question to reflect is, when would you take your PERMA test? I hope you take it today or tomorrow. Do you remember what the PERMA stands for? You should write it down what PERMA stands for. And when would you take your signature strength test? Take the signature strength test today or tomorrow. Again, this concludes our second segment. We have 9 segments on this Facebook Live. Again, I wish we can do it with slides, but next time I'll repeat this thing with the slides. So hopefully you'll be able to enjoy the great slides we made. Thanks again to Hannah. Please, again, if you like it, share on your Facebook page and also share on your YouTube channel. Again, this is now segment 3. This is Dr. Shah. This is a happiness Facebook Live. This is segment number 3. It starts with a great quote from one of our great presidents, Thomas Jefferson. He says, it's neither wealth, not splendor, but tranquility and occupation which gives us happiness. So again, very important quote. It's not the wealth, not the splendor, but it's the peace of mind, the tranquility and occupation, the love of work, love of what we do, which gives us the happiness. So what does happiness depend upon? Happiness depends upon genetics, 50%. This is again from work from Sonia Lyubomirsky. Genetics, it depends on 50%. So if your parents are happy, you have a very high chance of becoming happy. Depends how your siblings are happy. And if you're a twin brother or sister, how happy they are. To many people, it's a surprise that only 10% of happiness depends upon external circumstances. That means how big of a house you have, whether you have a nice car or not, whether you are married, if you have a good life partner or not, whether you have kids or not, whether you have a good physique, good body or not, whether you are healthy or not, whether you are wealthy or not. It's only 10% external factors where your happiness depends upon. And Sonia Lyubomirsky clearly described and said that 40% of your happiness depends upon your internal circumstances like thoughts, actions, habits, and what you do every day internally. So again, internal circumstances are 40% of your happiness. Genetics, obviously, you cannot change because what you're born with genes, you're born with the genes. So if you want to be happy, change your internal circumstances because 40% depends on that. So let's look at what American paradox is. American paradox is that in 1940, happiness score was 7.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. Happiness score was 7.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. In 2015, happiness score is 7.2. So since 1940 until 2020, so that's 80 years, we have better houses, we have better air conditioners, we have heated house, we have running water, we have hot water, we have better, bigger cars, we have better economy, we have more food on our plate, we have definitely more luxuries, but despite of that, happiness score actually has slightly gone down. And obviously in 1940, we were in the middle of World War II. And now our happiness score has gone down actually. So this is an American paradox that we should be happier with all the achievements we have of last 50 years, including internet and smartphones and everything else, but we actually are slightly less happy. So this is a big American paradox. So let's talk about what are the different types of people. This is again comes from the great description and great work from Tal Ben-Shahar from Harvard. He describes people in 4 categories. There is a category called rat racers, where people just work extremely hard with the hope that they will be happy in the future. So they just work and hope that happiness will be in the future. And then there are hedonist people who actually just enjoy right now and not worry what's going to happen in the future. And there are people who are nihilists, where people don't enjoy now and don't think that they will enjoy in the future. And then there are true well-being, happy people who are happy and enjoying with the meaning and purpose in life now. And they are actually also hoping, expecting, and planning how to be happy in the future also. So we want to be in the 4th category. Fortunately or unfortunately, we are all 4 types in all of us at different time in our life. So again, there are 4 types of people, but all those 4 types are in ourselves individually in different parts of our life. Obviously, our goal is to be the last type, which is the true happy person who is happy and enjoying life right now with meaning and purpose, and who's also happy in the future also. So the great quote now from Ayn Rand. Obviously, most of you know Ayn Rand. It says that happiness is a state of consciousness which proceeds from the achievement of one's values. So again, very important concept, and that's where one of the theory of happiness comes. Happiness happens when you have very narrow gap between what you are, what you have become, and what your maximum potential is. So whatever you are right now and what your maximum potential could have been, if the gap is narrow, there's a very high chance of happiness. So essentially what we are saying, what I'm saying is that try to do your best to achieve your maximum potential in your life. Then you have a very high chance of being happy. There's another great quote from Anne Landers, the great writer. Obviously, it was a pen pen pal writer type thing. She took up a pen name for the Chicago Tribune, Ann Landers, and she says the best things in life aren't the things. Best things in life are not the things. I will start with that quote. So what things we think make us happy? Like Ann Landers says, best things in life are not the things. So what things we think will make us happy, but actually they don't. And those starts with good grades. Many college students, many high school students, many students think that good grades will make them happy. But matter of fact, when you assess them on happiness, when they predict a certain grades, and if they got the grades higher than they predicted, they might get slight happy for a day or two, but then the happiness came down to the baseline. And opposite, if they got less grades than the predicted grades, they became unhappy for a day or two, but then their happiness came to the baseline. So grades actually don't make you happy or unhappy in long term. Same way with a good salary, good income. If you get a raise, you may get happy for a few days, few weeks, but then your happiness comes to the same baseline what you were before the raise. Matter of fact, people who are making 30,000 want 50,000 to be happy, and people who are making 100,000 want 250,000 to be happy. And we'll talk about what this comparison, what this relative value is. Definitely we know wealth doesn't bring happiness. There are a lot of millionaires, a lot of billionaires who are unhappy. We think that marriage, a good life partner will make you happy, but I'll tell you that doesn't make you happy. Obviously, it may increase your chance of happiness, but it's not 100% written in stone. Having a big house not necessarily make you happiness. We all have gone through experience when we moved from an apartment, one-bedroom apartment, to a small house. We get slight happy for a few weeks, but then happiness comes to the baseline. When we go from small house to a bigger house, same thing happens. Owning a nicer car makes you happy for a few weeks, but after 6 months, after a year, when you forget that you're driving a better car. Having a great physique, great body, losing weight, getting a cosmetic surgery may make you happy for a few weeks. So again, there are many more examples which we think will make us happy, but does not make us happy. Actually, there was a freshman survey done recently where they asked in 1967 that where did you rank well-being in terms of your importance. In 1967, freshmen said that well-being was their 71% priority. So in 67, more people thought the well-being is more important. That number now is 42%. Now actually people are valuing more the material, more income, more salary. Actually, there's enough data to prove that you need about $75,000 for a family of 4 to live in an average American town. Obviously, if you live in New York or LA, 75,000 for 4 people may not be enough. But in an average American town, to live a very comfortable, very happy life for a family of 4, you need about $75,000. We'll prove that. Again, there is also a concept that wanting and desires actually makes you unhappy in the long term. And there was a survey done that when they asked people who had a lot more material desire, after 20 years, they had higher chance of depression, higher chance of anxiety, and higher chance of a mental illness. So again, a lot of material desires also brings a lot of unhappiness. And a matter of fact, there is enough proof now that when you desire something, when you want something, and when you don't achieve that, it also sends you in despair and also make you more unhappy and also have a higher chance of depression and anxiety. I have a great slide. I wish I can show you where I'll describe it to you. Where there's a person appears to be a pretty much a homeless person, probably making very small amount of money, appears to be in effect either in India or one of the other Middle Eastern countries, where he's sitting on a street, on a footpath actually, with his daughter, and I can see the smile on the person, the man's face, big smile, and then I can see the expression of his daughter, probably 2 or 3 years old, and the daughter's expression, the daughter's smile is so happy. To be honest with you, if I ask whose daughter she is, most of you would say she is Bill Gates' daughter. so happy, so smiling, so much showing affection to her dad, and they are street homeless people making probably less than $1 per day. But she looks like she is daughter of Bill Gates. I wish I can show this picture. Hopefully we'll show the slide when I do the Facebook Live again. But you can imagine the picture, how happy they both look like. They don't have any money. They don't have a house. They don't have a car. But they look some of the happiest people on this earth. So again, marriage doesn't bring you happiness. So why material things do not make us happy? Material things do not make us happy because our intuitions, our implicit thinking, intuitions actually is many times wrong. Our intuitions turn out to be wrong than what we think. Sometimes we think that buying a newer car will make us happy, even though our current car is running fine, does not need a replacement. Just because somebody else bought a new car, or you just got excited about driving a new car and you think the new car will make you happy, but it does not. In a few weeks, you feel just like you are driving your old car and you just spent $40, $50, $70, $80,000, did not make you happy. And I'll show you how you can spend that money, how you can spend those resources, how you can spend that time, how to be happier instead of going after a material thing. So why material thing does not make us happy? There is a concept, again from Lori Santos' lecture from Yale Coursera course, that we all have called miswanting. Miswanting is described about as we are wrong about what thinking or knowing what truly will make us happy. And the term is described as a miswanting. Miswanting, that means something wrong about what we truly want to make us happy. So in my opinion, there's a quick fix to that to overcome miswanting. This is again my own term, my own thinking. And it says that for me, if I want what I already have, there's a good chance I'll be happy. To give you an example, I drive a simple RAV4. And if I want my current RAV4, if I don't want any more expensive car, I'll be happy. The house we live in, if I want that house, I will be happy. So again, wanting what you already have. Wanting what you already have. So you don't need anything more, wanting what you already have. Just think of it. Just imagine it. If you want what you already have, you don't have to go through the whole exercise. Just like we talked about the fisherman and the CEO. Fisherman was already happy. CEO was going to take him through 10 steps to be happy. Fisherman was already happy. So wanting what you already have. There's a great quote from one of my favorite Stoic Roman philosopher, Cicero. He says that I never admired another's fortune so much that I became dissatisfied with my own. Again, I never admired somebody else's what he or she had so much that I became dissatisfied with what I have. And that leads us to the next reason why we don't get happy with material things. And that reason, one of the reasons is called comparison. Comparison. We all compare everything what we have in life. We compare who has a bigger house, who has a better car, who has a better life partner, who has better kids, what grades other people got. So we always compare. And we don't think in absolute terms. If I have a house, I always think who has a bigger house, even though I may have a great house. For example, people who live in a one-bedroom apartment, they may move to a small house, but if they compare themselves to the people who have a bigger house, then they will always have high chance of happiness. People who earn $30,000, they want $50,000. People who earn $100,000, they want $250,000. You would think that people who think that $50,000 will make them happy because they're making currently $30,000. And if there are people who are $100,000, already more than $50,000, it should be making them happy. But when we are making $100,000, we want $250,000. And that's comparison. We compare everything. If we are unemployed and if our friends are unemployed, we are not that unhappy because our friends are unemployed also. Even though unemployment should bring us the happiness, we are not that unhappy because all of our friends are unemployed. So then comparison plays a large role. And lately, because of TV, and now we have a 24/7 social media. I think we used to have 3 to 4 hour TV as recent as in 80s and 90s. People used to watch 2 or 3 hours of TV. Now everybody has access to social media, particularly Facebook, all the wake hours. When they are not sleeping, they are on Facebook. At work, at home, everywhere they are on Facebook. And Facebook is one of the biggest promoter of comparison. When people post what car they bought, what birthday party they had, what clothes they wear, what vacation they took, immediately comparison starts. So now we have access to compare ourselves to other people 16 hours a day, non-stop comparison. And that's partly the reason, in my opinion, unhappiness has gone up, stress has gone up, depression has gone up, because we have 24/7 now access to social media. We'll talk about pros and cons of social media as we go. So how can we fix it? Because obviously we know comparison should not be done, but how can we fix it? I've come up with some of my own ideas, and I've come up with some ideas from the lecture from Lori Santos from Yale Coursera course. So you can do a downward comparison. That means if I live in a 2-bedroom house, compare myself to people who live in an apartment. That will give me some sense of gratitude that I live in a nice house, 2-bedroom house. That will also give me some self-esteem, some sense of accomplishment that I have accomplished. At the same time, I should also have a healthy comparison for the people who live in a bigger house to say if I can grow, obviously in a healthy way. So comparison should be both upward and downward. Also write down where you were before in life and where you are, and refer to that again and again. If I write down that I used to live in a 1-bedroom apartment when I came to this country, and I live in a big house now, and if I have that written down in a journal, in a note, I will be constantly reminded where I have grown, how successful I have become, and I'll be able to do less comparisons. There's also a trick which I have designed myself, that we all should be also periodically reading and watching what other tragic things other people go through. When I see what's happening in Syria right now, how fortunate I feel, how quickly I compare myself to them, that what misery, what unhappiness they're going through, and that instantly makes me more gratitude, more accomplished, more happy person. Obviously, that's not the way of putting them down, but at the same time knowing that there are billions of people suffering in this world, that makes me immediately happy with what I have accomplished, what I've achieved. So let's finish this segment with some reflection. Can you name a recent purchase which you thought will make you happy, but in few weeks, few months, brought you to the same happiness level? It could be a new car, could be moving in a new house, could be a new shoes, could be a new watch. So just think of 1 or 2 items. If you're watching Facebook Live, put it on this thing, what you thought will make you happy, but it did not increase your happiness after a few weeks, few months. So go ahead, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and write it down. Also, I want to know, do you have good genes for happiness? Your parents are happy people. Your siblings are happy. If you're a twin, is your twin a happy person? And again, it also brings me to ask you what kind of person you are right now at this stage in life, this week. Are you a rat racer? That means you are just working, and putting off being happy, having fun, having meaning. Are you a rat racer? Are you a hedonist who is enjoying right now and not worrying about the future? Are you a nihilist? That means you're not enjoying now and you're not thinking of the future. Or are you truly a happy, well-being person? So what kind of person you are? Again, you will have the same live with slides. They will be on YouTube, so you can watch it again. But write down what kind of person you are. So again, I'll stop for 15 seconds. Reflect yourself. Write down the points, plan, see what you're going to do. See how can you lower your habits of comparison. Again, this ends our segment. We are on Facebook, so share this on your Facebook Live. Also like our Facebook page, Healthy Living with Dr. Aajay Shah. We are on YouTube also. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter. So go ahead and like all the social media platforms. And and we post at least 5 to 6 times every day, all about healthy living, all about physical health, mental health, spiritual health, how to be successful in life. Matter of fact, I've done video just last week, how to be 100 times productive, not just 100% more productive, 100 times more productive. Watch that video, only about 20 minutes long, and that will make you instantly productive. So again, I hope you're liking our movement and spreading words with your friends and followers to have joined our movement. Thank you. Again, this is Dr. Aajay Shah. This is our segment 4 on a interactive workshop on happiness. This is again segment 4. If you have not watched the first 3 segments, watch segments in sequence, segment 1, 2, and 3, and this is segment 4. So again, we were talking what things which does not make us happy, and typically material things do not make us happy. And one of the reason is called hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation. And a lot of this point, a lot of this learning and teaching has come from Lori Santo's Science of Wellbeing Coursera course. So I definitely recommend you to watch that course. I've taken a lot of notes from that course. So if you don't have 14, 16 hours to watch that course, I've taken most of the important notes and made slides. So again, the important concept starts this seminar called hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation means when our thinking gets used to with what we already have. So again, subconsciously, we don't even know that we are going through this hedonic adaptation. To give you an example, when you move into a new house, first few days, first few weeks, possibly first few months, you are excited, you are happy, you are jovial, you are literally having a good time. But after 6 months, you start to almost take it granted you're living in a great house. And after a year or two, you don't even probably realize that you are living in a great house. It becomes a status quo. It becomes life normal again, just living in a good house. So again, that's called hedonic adaptation. That applies to everything material we buy, what we own. It to our car, to our shoes, to our watch, to our Fitbit device, to our Apple Watch, to our clothes, to our house, everything. Even it happens to our marriage, our life partner. Even happens with our kids. When your life partner said first time, I love you, that meant so much. And when he or she says same thing after 6 months, after 1 year, after 2 years, obviously you still like it, but you don't love it as much as when you heard it first time. When your kid, son or daughter, tells you mom or dad first time, that first mom or first dad word gives you so much joy, so much happiness. And when you hear mom or dad word after a year, after 5 years, after 10 years, same word, mom and dad, you don't get the same excitement, same happiness. And that's called hedonic adaptation. So how you can prevent this hedonic adaptation happening? Because hedonic adaptation is one of the major reasons certain things in our life does not continue to provide the happiness. So our goal should be to thwart or to prevent this hedonic adaptation happening. Prevent the hedonic adaptation happening. So to prevent the hedonic adaptation, the most important skill is savoring. Savoring. So what is savoring? Savoring is act of stepping outside of an experience to review and appreciate the experience. To give you an example, if you are eating a healthy meal, or if you are, let's say, eating a small bite of a cookie, how you can have no hedonic adaptation? Because after you eat a small bite of cookie, if you keep eating second, third, fourth, fifth cookie, it does not give you the same joy as having the first bite of the cookie. Same way, if you live in the same house after 6 months, doesn't give you the same joy. So the best way to do is you savor that. So how can you savor that? You can intensify and lengthen the experience. To give you an example, if you're eating a small cookie, just have one bite and reserve the second bite after a few hours or maybe even next day. So lengthen that experience. Share that small bite of cookie with somebody. Talk to someone. Say that I had a great whatever cookie you bought from whatever store, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely enjoyed it. I'm lucky that I have fortune to buy that small cookie. Again, I'm giving cookie example, not a healthy example, but that's probably the best people can relate to, because cookie, quote unquote, gives you joy. I've seen a lot of people getting joy from eating broccoli, but I know more people get joy from eating a small bite of cookie. I do it. We all do it. So again, be mindful when you are having that experience. Be in that 100% zone that you are having an experience. Actually, a lot of people said that jump up and down that you have that experience. Show gratitude that you are lucky to have that experience. Feel that how proud I am to live in this house, how good I feel to live in this house, and that can also prevent hedonic adaptation happening. Take a picture of the house and look at it again and again and see if it can prevent the hedonic adaptation. Buy a souvenir. If you are traveling somewhere, buy a souvenir of that place and keep it in front of you, either on your desk or in your house. So again, this is the way you can prevent hedonic adaptation. There's another major important method how to prevent hedonic adaptation. I'll tell you in a second. So how you can actually have hedonic adaptation happen more quickly. So again, how can you have hedonic adaptation happen quickly? That means it's not good for you. If you focus on the future, if I'm having a small bite of a cookie, and if you are thinking of eating pizza tomorrow, I'm not going to have the same fun of eating cookie. If I feel that this small bite of cookie will be over in 5 seconds, and I'm going to miss it again, that's not going to give you the joy long term. If you compare that this small bite of cookie is not as good as the small bite of cookie I had last week, you're going to have quick hedonic adaptation. That means you're going to not enjoy that what you are having right now. And definitely, if you are not showing gratitude, and if you show that I don't deserve it, then also will create hedonic adaptation. So don't do any of that if you want to have the great experience and great joy, great happiness from the things you own or things you experience. So again, how can you prevent another way of great hedonic adaptation? And Mark Twain, I wish I can show the slide, clearly says that to get the full value of joy, you must have somebody to divide with. So again, share your experience, share your wealth, share your ownership, share your house, share your car with people who you enjoy with. And then you will have a less chance of hedonic adaptation. So again, there's another method where you can avoid or you can prevent hedonic adaptation. And that's to investing your time, your resources, whatever you want to spend into experiences, not owning material thing. So again, to give you an example, instead of buying a new car, take a vacation. Drive your car as long as it's a safe car and it's a good car. The money you save from not buying the new car, go to a small vacation with your loved one, with your spouse, with your family, with your kids, with your friends. And that experience will give you much more longer happiness and will prevent the hedonic adaptation. So invest more into experience, not into owning the thing. Matter of fact, it says that even planning for the experience gives you the joy and happiness. Like I've gone through that. Whenever we plan for a vacation, like I planned to go to Italy about 8 or 9 years ago with my wife and our daughter. And the planning part, going on Expedia, looking for places to go to, looking for the hotels, looking for the restaurants, booking the tickets, booking the airline time. That itself, it took me about 2 or 3 days, few hours here and there. And that time itself was so much joy. So again, planning for the experience also gives you joy. And matter of fact, now we can even have many free or low-cost experience. Obviously, right now, a lot of places are in shutdown, but just going to a park to walk, no cost to you, can give you a great experience. Going to a library, going to a mall to walk, going to any place which has low cost or no cost can give you great experience. You can also go out for a healthy dinner with your friends and your family, and that's more experience than owning a material thing. So again, invest into experience, not into material thing. So again, there's another way of thwarting or preventing hedonic adaptation, and that method is called negative visualization. Negative visualization is also described in Stoic philosophy. I recorded about hour-long Stoic philosophy. Please look up on our YouTube channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Shah. Stoic philosophy, in my opinion, is probably the best philosophy, at least for me, that has worked out. Obviously, I grew up in India. I read Gita. I read a lot of Hindu scriptures. But somehow, Stoic philosophy has made a lot more sense to me. I'm not sure why. And I absolutely in love with Stoic philosophy. Please watch our video on Stoic philosophy. It's about an hour long. You will learn how to live life in a great way. So again, the concept came from that philosophy about negative visualization to prevent the hedonic adaptation. And how does the negative visualization work? That if you have a nice car and if your mind got used to with having a nice car, go walk or take a bus or take a train to your work for 1 week, and you will start to reappreciate the value of owning the car. So again, create a negative visualization. Again, let me repeat the negative visualization. I think I misspoke. Negative visualization means thinking that if you did not have a car, how your life would be. Thinking how your life would be if you did not have that car. That's negative visualization. Sit down. The other concept was creating the life without that material thing. So again, if you have a car, create a life as if you did not have a car. So you can do both negative visualization, where you actually visualize if you did not have the car, what would happen. And second thing is creating that real life experience if you did not have that car. Next way you can prevent the hedonic adaptation is by thinking that this is last day of your life. So again, if you think this is last day of your life, you will appreciate your marriage, appreciate your life partner, appreciate your kids, appreciate your friends, appreciate your house, appreciate your car a lot more. Thinking that this is your last day of your life. Pretty morbid thought, but actually it's been described in Stoic philosophy that think this is last day of your life. Also, if you are working, think this is your last week at your work. You definitely will be happier. You will not look at big, small things. Will not bother you. You will treat your co-workers with a lot more gratitude, a lot more happiness, and you actually will be a happy worker. So think, this is your last week. And again, giving you same example that if I think that I'm on a healthy nutrition, healthy diet, and this is my only bite of the cookie for this whole month, I will appreciate that one small bite of cookie more if I'm going to have it only once a month. So again, thinking that this is my last day of life, last week at work, and this is my last bite of cookie for 1 month. You will have less hedonic adaptation. We talked about interrupting your consumption. So if you are owning a car, taking a bus to the work will also give you the value of the work, and that will prevent hedonic adaptation. I have added my own trick, my own method, and that's attaching happy memories to a material thing. For example, our house. I absolutely love our house right now. I loved our last house. I loved apartment we lived in because I have made a habit of attaching happy memories. For example, in the current house we are in, when I go to our son's bedroom or our daughter's bedroom, I instantly visualize how our son and daughter were in those bedrooms, how I sat with them, how I talked to them, how I give them motivation, how I cheer them up, how they cheer me up. And those happy memories are attached to this house. So this house does not give me hedonic adaptation because I give happy memories to this house more so than the value of the house. So again, I advise all of you to attach happy memories. Attach happy memories to your current car, how you took certain vacations in this car, and then you will appreciate the value of your current car as long as the car is running, obviously. As long as this house is a livable house, I have a lot more to enjoy this house than go to a bigger house or a better house. Obviously, most of you know we need to actually downsize our house. We all want that. Next way you can prevent hedonic adaptation is by maintaining a gratitude journal. Appreciating what you have in life. Gratitude journal is one of the most important habit one can make to be happy and to have less depression and even more successful person. Gratitude journal. I have recorded a 25-minute long video on how to journal. It's already on YouTube, Healthy Living with Dr. Aajay Shah. Watch that video when you have time. A great video on how to journal. And gratitude journal is number one way you can journal. Start with a gratitude master list. Write down everything what you are thankful for. For example, for me, great marriage, great kids, great house, great car, great job, great living parents, great brother, great friends. So again, a lot of things to be happy about. Living in a democratic country, living in the best country in the world, living in Midwest, living in a very great suburb, Okemos. So a lot of things to be happy. I also add in that list my daily gratitude, what I'm happy about every day. Sometimes I'm happy because I'm able to do this video calls with my patient in this COVID-19 crisis. So I'm able to stay in touch with patients as if I'm in their room, I'm in their house with a video call. So I was having great gratitude of having video calls. So have your daily gratitude list also. Other way you can also expand on this gratitude is by making a gratitude visit. By making a gratitude visit. You can visit a friend, you can visit a family member, sitting down with your spouse and showing the gratitude. Or writing a gratitude email, writing a gratitude text, just texting somebody how thankful you are, or writing a gratitude, or sending him a gratitude letter. Also show your coworkers gratitude, and that will definitely make you happy. So this was again hedonic adaptation. Read about it, watch my video again. This video will be with slides again on YouTube, so watch it again. Again, you refer to the great course on Coursera, Science of Well-Being by Laurie Santos. A lot of my talking points have come from that course. There's another thing called impact bias, which also make us happy. We typically implicitly, subconsciously have a thinking that if something happens negative, that will last longer, that has a lot more weight on our life. For example, when some loved one dies in our family, our friend, when we lose our job, that negative event we think has a larger impact, will last longer, but truly in reality, we all have psychological immunity, which we'll talk about it, and we overcome all those negative events, negative experiences much quicker than we realize, than we appreciate how strong our psychological immune system is. We'll talk about it. We also have thing called negativity bias, which is also an important concept to understand. It's called negativity bias. If you just imagine 100,000, 200, 300,000 years ago, in early savanna jungle, when humans were roaming around, and if they were behind any tall grass, and if there was a lion that came after them, they had to run to save their life. There was one experience they had, negative experience of possible death, danger of possibly dying and a death. Versus you had another experience of having a great fruit or great vegetable. So you have two experiences, one a negative experience of possibly dying versus a positive experience where you just got a little happier of eating a fruit, or got a little healthier eating a fruit, or got a little energy, or whatever small experience you got. Which experience you will value, which experience your mind will value, which experience your subconscious will value. Obviously, the experience of saving your life. So we all have negativity bias. All the negative experiences where we could have died, we could have gone through a major life crisis, those experiences, our subconscious, our implicit memory remembers it more. So we all have negativity bias. And we'll talk about it, how you can overcome a negativity bias. Obviously, human nature for last 100,000, 200,000 years, our genetics, our behavior, our implicit thinking is more geared towards negativity bias. Nobody can overcome negativity bias 100%, but we have tools, we have habits, how you can overcome negativity bias, how you can delete some of your negative implicit memories. Obviously, implicit means you cannot access it. That means you cannot reach this memory. But there are ways, there are methods, there are tricks, there are habits which you can overcome actually implicit memories, negative implicit memories, and how you can add positive implicit memories, which we'll talk about it. So what else makes us unhappy? We also have a concept of focalism. This came from the great course by Lori Santos, that whenever some negative events happen in our life, we immediately assume that that's the only thing happening in our life. For example, if we lose our job, 24/7, we are thinking about losing that job. We don't look at it that our spouse said, I love you, our kids said, I love you, they gave us a great smile, I had a great meal, I had to watch, I still live in a great house, I still drive a nice car. Those good things are still happening, but 24/7 we are thinking of that I have lost that job. So we definitely have very focalism. That means we get focused on one thing and our whole mind is consumed by that one negative thing. And that's the reason sometimes we get unhappiness, and we will talk also how you can overcome focalism. So this ends this segment. Let's have a reflection for this segment. My first reflection to you is, what material purchase you thought will give you happiness but gave you the hedonic adaptation? That means you no longer are happier because of what you own now. Could be house, could be car. So what is your one or two things come to your mind? I'll give you 5 seconds. Write down or comment on a Facebook Live. Same way, what negative events happen in your life and you also overcame negative events? Because hedonic adaptation happens not just with positive things. Fortunately, it happens with negative things also. So again, negative experiences, our mind gets used to also. So what negative experience you thought is going to doom your life, matter of fact, you overcame? And also, what negative experiences you have in your life which you remember all the time and you ruminate? And last thing I ask you, that when you have a time, right now, if you're pausing, write down 3 or 5 things what you are most grateful for. And start maintaining a gratitude journal starting today. It just takes 3 minutes to write a gratitude journal. Great benefits, proven benefits, matter of fact. In many research, many science, many studies, proven benefit of maintaining gratitude journal. So this ends our segment. If you are watching, thank you. This will be again on YouTube. If you are watching, please like, please share. We are also on YouTube, so subscribe to our channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Aajay Shah. This brings us to our next segment number 5. There are total 9 segments. Again, a disclaimer again, if you are not feeling well, if you think you have mental illness, reach out to your physician. It starts with a great quote by Aristotle. Aristotle is my favorite Greek philosopher before Stoicism. Almost, I think, 450 BC, I think. As you all know, Aristotle was a great student of Plato. And Plato, again, another my great Greek philosopher. And Plato was obviously the great student of Socrates, another great philosopher I admire. So again, all this great philosopher has left us with a lot of wisdom. So let's see what Aristotle said. Aristotle said that different men seek happiness in different ways and by different means. And that's so true, still applies so much. We all have different reasons to be happy. So next quote, and I wish you can see this on the slide, great picture and great quotes, by Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin said that happiness consists more in small pleasures that occur every day than in the great pieces of fortune that seldom happen. So again, Benjamin Franklin says, enjoy every moment, enjoy every day. There is another great English novelist. It says that if you pursue, his name is C.P. Snow. It says that if you pursue happiness, you will never find it. Like I said earlier, happiness, you cannot pursue it. Happiness ensues. So again, if you go after happiness, happiness will keep going away from you. But if you do certain things in life, happiness actually will come to you. So let the happiness come to you instead of you chasing the happiness. There's a great quote from David Thomas. But he was a singer. He says, as happiness is taking action. So again, even though I say you cannot pursue happiness, there are certain actions, there are certain habits, there are certain discipline you must do so happiness will come to you. So let's start with some simple things what are proven to make you happy, are proven to prevent mental illness, prevent depression, prevent anxiety. Number one in the list is exercise. 30 minutes, 3 times a week was compared with antidepressant medicine Zoloft. Many of you know Zoloft. Many of you could be on antidepressant. Zoloft was compared with 30 minutes of walking, just walking 3 times a week. 30 minutes of walking 3 times a week. And in that research, in that study, exercise 30 minutes 3 times a week was actually better than taking Zoloft in terms of not just getting a person out of depression, but also preventing recurrent depression. So exercise is compared with antidepressant and proven to be better than antidepressant. All depressed patients, all of us should be exercising. I actually recommend about an hour of exercise every day. You should be also doing weight training, yoga, stretches, tai chi, because all those different exercises have value in mental illness. Exercise makes us happy. It gives us better mood. It has less chance of depression. It gives us better sleep. It makes us physically more healthy. It makes us more creative. Matter of fact, there's even proof that students, both the high school, elementary school, middle school, and college students who exercise get better grades. So exercise is better for your grades also. Again, you should track your exercise. I own a Fitbit device. Fitbit is the best, or any other device is the best way to track it. You should know how many steps you are walking every day. You should know how many active minutes you have, how many flights you took, and you should know how active you are, and by tracking it. The next important thing for creating happiness, creating mental well-being, and flourishing is sleep. Sleep is very underappreciated quality in life. Sleep is must for everybody. We should be eating 7 to 8 hours. 30 to 40% of Americans don't get 7 hours of sleep. And about 5% of Americans are on sleeping medicine. Now we know sleeping medicine creates many mental illness. Matter of fact, it increases your mortality. You die more being on sleeping pill than not on sleeping pill. So sleeping pill is not the answer. I have a separate video on how to improve sleep. What are the consequences of poor sleep on YouTube? Watch that video. It's only about 15 minutes long. And if you watch that video, I guarantee you, I assure you that your sleep will get better. There are a lot of different tricks and techniques, including exposing yourself to sunlight, exercising regularly, avoiding blue lights, avoiding many other things, and increasing certain other things, and that will increase your sleep. Definitely track your sleep. I wear a Fitbit device that tells me how my light sleep was, how my REM sleep was, how my deep sleep was. Matter of fact, to tell you, my sleep has been about 7 hours, 20 minutes in 2020 this year. It used to be 6 hours, 40 minutes 2 years ago. I value sleep more than anything. I value sleep as much as exercise, as much as healthy eating. And I set a goal in 2020 to sleep about 7 hours, 30 minutes. I commute 2 hours. I exercise 2 hours a day. I work full time, 8 hours a day, and I still get 7.5 hours sleep. That means I'm in bed about 8.5 hours. I'm in bed about 8.5 hours because we all are awake 1 hour. So I get 7.5 hours sleep plus 1 hour awake. So I'm in bed 8.5 hours. I highly recommend, if you want to be happier, get your sleep up to about 7 to 8 hours. Definitely, next thing to be happy, to prevent many mental illness, is meditation. 20 minutes meditation once or twice a day is must. Meditation has a proven benefit in research, in studies, in trials. So you should be doing 20 minutes of meditation once or twice a day. I try to do at least 4 or 5 times a week, 20-minute meditation once or twice a day. There are different type of meditations. You can do sitting meditation with closed eyes or open eyes. You can do, we call loving kindness meditation, where you show the kindness and love to your loved one. could be any person in your life, and you can do loving kindness meditation. You can do mantra meditation where you can recite certain word or certain mantra. You can actually, matter of fact, do a walking meditation. Walking in a nature, walking can be anywhere, and you could be doing a walking meditation. You can also learn to observe your breath, where you slowly breathe in and out through your nostril, and also observe how the breath is going in and out, and that can also put you in a meditative state. Next thing is mindfulness. Mindfulness obviously has been a recent last 34-year-old concept, but mindfulness has been practiced for obviously 5,000 years. So essentially mindfulness means not having mind wandering, Mind wandering, just like multitasking, has been definitely proven to be not good for your mental well-being and for your happiness. So no mind wandering, no multitasking. Unpleasant mind wandering is definitely proven to be detrimental to your mental health. At the same time, there are some data that pleasant mind wandering can provide you some happiness, some mental well-being. Also doing breathing exercise like pranayama and many other different way of breathing exercise can also improve your mental well-being and also can give you more happiness. Also, another thing which has been described is sitting down 5 minutes and replaying your happy mental memories. Happy mental memories also can give you happiness. For example, I have a lot of happy childhood memories, and playing those memories when I'm free, just 5 minutes in the evening when I'm in the house, closing my eyes and remembering my childhood gives me instant happiness. Also, they say that analyzing your negative memories and planning to avoid them happening in the future is also important for happiness, but definitely not ruminating, not just keep replaying negative memories. If you want to play any negative memory, play a negative memory with analytic mind, with the thinking how you can prevent that in the future. There's another concept called time affluence versus material affluence. We all know that everyone gets 24 hours in a day. Rich, poor, white, black, tall, Indian, American, Chinese, we all get 24 hours in a day. In my opinion, time is the biggest equalizer on this earth. Everybody gets 24 hours. Time cannot be re-earned. Once time is gone, it cannot come back. Money can be gone, money can come back. House can be burned down, house can be rebuilt. But time, once it's gone, never comes back. And that's the reason this time affluence word has been now very popular. A lot of people want to be time affluent. So how can you be time affluent? Number one, value your time. Don't waste time in watching mindless TV, mindless news, mindless CNN, Fox, MSNBC, mindless Netflix binge. Definitely no mindless wandering. Invest your time into something which is going to make you happy. Read a motivational book. Read a fiction novel if you like, where you can learn about life. Obviously, watch some news. Sorry, there was a phone call in between, so sorry for that. Definitely no mindless wasting of time. Have a work-life balance. People work long hours, a very high chance of mental illness, very high chance of being unhappy. So have a happy work and life balance. I clearly said that don't be, and this is my own thing, don't be a janitor of your possessions. Don't be a janitor of your possessions. A lot of people buy a bigger house and then they become janitor, the caregiver of their house. And they lose a lot of fun in life. Matter of fact, there is enough research, enough data showing that people who own house versus people who rent apartment or house, people who rent are actually happier. So again, be time affluent, not material affluent. Again, it brings the next slide, which I will repeat slide. I wish you can see it. This showing the same person on the street, I think in India, with his daughter, and I can see the happiness, the joy, the pleasure, definitely on father's face, but a great amount on daughter's face, who is 3 years old. And it says that for her dad is the king of this world. King of this world. So again, daughter is just very happy. I'll show you the picture when I show you the Facebook Live slides, and hopefully it'll be on YouTube also. That brings another quote by Jane Porter, a great author. It says that happiness is not perfected until it is shared. Again, happiness is not perfected until it is shared. So happiness depends upon our relationship, our social connections. If you remember the PERMA has the R, and that's for the relationship. Again, PERMA stands for positive emotions. E for engagement or being in the flow, which we'll talk about it. R for relationship, which we'll talk now. M for meaning and purpose. And A for achievements. So again, relationship is very important. And in relationship, I definitely ask everyone to know the concept of give and take. In relationship, give and take is very important. Giving time, giving resources, giving love, giving compassion, giving care will bring the same thing back to you. So when you give those things, those will come back to you. If you just take those things and don't give anything back, eventually the relationship will die off. So again, give and take of love, compassion, time, resources, care is very important. Give and take. You cannot be just take. At the same time, you cannot be just give, because you will burn out. It's a give and take. So there's a great talk I listened from Martin Seligman where he says that when you have any conversation with your loved one, with your spouse, with your friends, there are 4 kinds of conversations you can have. One is called active destructive conversation, active destructive, passive destructive, passive constructive, and active constructive. So there are 4 kinds of conversations. And to give you an example, a funny example, if your spouse comes home and says, honey, I got a great promotion at work. So your spouse comes home and says that I got a great promotion at work. There are 4 ways your spouse can respond. There's called passive destructive, where your wife says, or your husband says, what's for dinner? That's passive destructive. Just no emotion, not showing any kind of interest, no congratulations, just thinking of something totally different. What's for dinner? That's passive destructive. Active destructive. If any of you can guess or imagine active destructive, when a spouse comes home and says, honey, I got promotion, first thing the spouse says, oh, that means we'll be in a bigger tax bracket. So instead of looking at what good thing happened, he or she is just saying what bad thing it could be. Again, that's active destructive. Should never happen. The next thing is a passive constructive. So when a spouse comes and says, honey, I got promotion, passive constructive is saying, good job. Just 2 words, good job. That's called passive constructive. And the best form of conversation is active constructive. So let me try my best to describe if a spouse comes home and tells the other person that, honey, I got promotion. The active constructor would be, honey, please tell me, how did the whole event happen? What was we doing at that time when it happened? Tell me, how did you get promotion? Honey, tell me who else was in the competition to get promotion? Tell me, how did your boss describe? Tell me, honey, what more can we do to go to the next level of promotion? So again, not just saying good job, but being actively involved, being reliving the experience, expanding on that experience, appreciating the qualities why the person got the promotion. So again, active construction should be in every conversation. I just give you an example of a spouse coming home with a promotion, but the same 4 conversation applies to every conversation, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your kids, whether it's your friends or your parents, anybody. The 4 conversation styles apply, and we all should be active, constructive as much as possible. If you don't have time, maybe passive constructive, but never a passive destructive or active destructive. So try to be active constructive as much as you can. That brings another quote by Albert Schweitzer, great Nobel Peace Prize winner Albert Schweitzer, that life becomes harder for us when we live for others, but it also becomes richer and happier. So again, when we live for somebody, life gets slightly harder because we are taking that person's responsibility, but it also becomes richer and happier. So again, living and helping other people, our life becomes richer and happier. That concludes our current segment. Again, another phone call, so sorry for that. And that brings us to reflections. What are your top 3 social connections? What are your top 3 social connections? Friends, spouse, family, parents, anybody. And my next question is, when was the last time you talked to your best friend? Maybe it was today, maybe it was yesterday, maybe it was last week, maybe it was a month, maybe it was a year. So when was the last time you talked to your best friend? And how long did you talk? What did you talk? My next reflection to ask you is, do you have balance of work and life? Balance of work and life. My next question to you is, how much exercise do you do? Do you exercise every day? You should. I do. And do you meditate? We all should every day. I try to meditate at least 5 times a week. I try my best to do it every day. Again, this concludes our current segment. There are 9 segments at this seminar. If you are on Facebook, please share, please like, please comment. If you are, eventually you will be on YouTube. This segment will be on YouTube. Watch on YouTube also. Hopefully on YouTube, the segments will be with slides. Next, it brings us to the next segment, segment 6 of total 9 segments. Again, I'm Dr. Aajay Shah. We are doing Facebook Live on happiness. Next thing which can increase our happiness is having top 5 friends. We don't need 200 friends. We need top 5 friends. So very important that we have top 5 friends. Having these relations, social connections increases our longevity. It makes us physically healthier. It actually improves our survival after illness, including like heart attack or stroke or a cancer. It also causes less depression. Actually, it's proven that even talking to a stranger increases our happiness. So if you are at a coffee shop, talk to a stranger. Talk to the person who gives you coffee. At work, if you meet somebody in a hall or cafeteria, talk to that person for a few seconds. Like we all know, eating together the same food, whether with family, with your friends, increases the happiness of that food. So there's definitely a value of doing an activity together. And in my opinion, in-person social connection is the best connection. When you meet somebody in person, whether it's at home or a restaurant or a park, when you see that person in person, like physically be with that person, that's the best way to do it. Next best way to do is by video chatting or FaceTime. Next best is by talking either on the phone, or next is the best way is texting that person, which you can get immediate response. And obviously last way is emailing or writing letter. Again, best thing is to meet the person physically, but sometimes it's not possible with this social distancing. At least do a video call or a FaceTime, or at least call up that person. There was actually a study done where people were categorized into people who were given option to make more money or being in solitude, being lonely without any social connection. And people who had social connections were happier than people who made more money. So definitely social connections bring you more happiness than making money. Even it says that even for a person who is introvert, people who is very reserved, people who love solitude, people who like sitting alone and reading or contemplating and meditating, even for those people, social connections increases happiness. For a person like me who is slightly introvert, who loves reading, who loves sitting alone, who loves just being in my own company. Even for a person, for me, in my own personal experience, whenever I have met people, whenever I have met friends, when I have gone to any party, whenever I sat with my wife, those things have given me instant joy, instant happiness than being alone. So even for introvert, social connections are very important. Next brings up the thing which we covered in our first segment is activating your signature strength. Again, if you remember signature strength, if you are going to take the signature strength, there are 24 signature strengths. For me, my key signature strengths are love of learning, gratitude, fairness, hope, and forgiveness. So if I practice my signature strength, for example, love of learning is my number 1 signature strength. If I practice that strength, I will have more chance of happiness, less chance of depression. And to be honest, I practice love of learning every day. I read 200 pages every day. Even though I work full time, I commute 2 hours every evening. And my way of reading is I walk in our kitchen with a book in hand or on my phone on a reading app, either Kindle or Scribe app. So I read and walk, and I walk 2-3 hours, 4 hours every evening, and I read at the same time. Reading and walking is almost my meditation. Reading and walking. So I activate my signature strength. So I want all of you to know your signature strength and activate and experience those signature strength every day. So go and take the signature strength test as soon as this lecture is over. Being more in the flow, and I'll explain you what being more in the flow means. Definitely there are other factors. Learn social skills. Important to learn social skills. Social skills can be learned. Learn to tell a good story. Learn to tell a good joke. Those things will also make you more sociable. And definitely have a good character. There's another concept by Tal Ben-Shahar, one of the great psychologists from Harvard. A lot of books, including a book called Happiness, he has written. And he describes this thing called upward happiness spiral. Upward happiness spiral. Like you start the spiral of events, which leads you eventually on a happiness journey. To give you an example, vacation with a new friend. Build a new relationship, new experiences, and that will start a new spiral, new happiness spiral. You will know that friend more. You will call that friend on a regular basis. You will plan more vacations. You will share a lot of experiences. You will do a lot more activities. And that builds a new upward spiral. And to give you an example, I had a great childhood friend, Dr. Hemant Panchal. I did not connect with him for 25 years. I connected with him just 4 years ago. And then we took few vacations, and now we talk on a regular basis. He's a great singer, so he sends me his songs which he has sang. I enjoy them. We text each other. We enjoy each other's family. And now that has caused an upward spiral. So again, you can start an upward spiral today, which will build into more and more happiness memories. So start your upward happiness spiral. Start an event today which will add more and more experiences which will make you happy. Again, even smiling to a stranger can start an upward spiral. Smiling to a stranger can start a conversation, can start a new friendship, can start more experiences, more fun together, more travel together, more walks together. So start an upward spiral. That brings to a next quote. I wish you can see this great people on the screen, but one day you will when we figure out how to show the slides. And Seneca says, learn how to feel joy. Seneca was a great Stoic philosopher. Again, Stoic philosophy is my favorite philosophy. He says, learn how to feel joy. That brings to the next way of getting happy. Learn various philosophies of the world. Ancient philosophies, mid-age philosophies, philosophies of Renaissance, current philosophies from 1800, 1900. So learn various philosophies, because when you learn various philosophies, you can acquire what's good in those philosophies, how to be happy. My favorite philosophy is Stoicism. Like I said, we have a great video on Stoicism, great summary of all Stoic principles, just in 1 hour. Watch on YouTube. Next brings to a very important topic, how to be happy. My favorite topic is next topic, and that's how to get into the flow. Flow term was actually coined by this great psychologist from Harvard, Mihai. His last name is very long, awkward name, but he has written a book called Flow. So look up that book. He has a lot of YouTube talk. Just go on the YouTube and write flow state, and you will be able to find that talk. Flow means essentially being fully immersed into an activity with full energy, full enjoyment, when you actually have no sense of time passing. You are essentially into that zone. So as you can recall, many sports players, many gymnasts, many musicians, many singers, even many people who are, while they are cooking, they get into that flow. Like I've seen my wife, when she's making certain dish, she's into the flow. She's constantly thinking, enjoying, planning, getting the ingredients out, watching how the dish is turning, tasting, imagining how people would enjoy what she's making, and she's literally into the flow. So you can get into the flow with any activity. Like I said, my wife gets into the flow by just cooking. You can get into the flow by walking in nature. You can get into the flow while you're reading. You can get into the flow while meditating. You can get into the flow while you are having any kind of experience. So get into the flow. So what are the features of the flow? Features of the flow will be what experience you're having will be slightly challenging, but still attainable. So you are not over challenged, otherwise it will become an anxiety. It's not under challenged, otherwise it will be boring. So slightly more challenging than your level. So again, a deliberate practice of slightly more challenging than what your current level is. That's how you're going to get into the flow. Slightly more challenging than what you are at what level you are. So have a right balance of challenge, slight more challenge than what your level is. Again, best memories are created when you are in the flow actually. So again, I have my best memories when I was in flow. Actually, it's proven that flow state happens when you are more with a challenge. It's not when you are relaxing. And actually, it's proven that more flow state happens at work than at leisure activity. So more flow state happens at work than leisure activity. More people are in flow while they are working than they are retired. Obviously, it depends what kind of activities you do in your retirement, and you can get into the flow. So leisure can get you into flow as long as you choose the activities, you choose the experiences to get you into flow. If you choose just to sit, if you choose to watch mindless TV, if you choose to just mindlessly eat, it will not get you into flow. But in my opinion, if you want to be in more flow, continue working. My decision is I'm never going to retire. As long as my mind and my body can let me work, I'm going to keep working, because I know that I experience more flow when I'm at work. I experience more flow when I'm promoting healthy lifestyle movement. Matter of fact, right now, doing this live, I'm in the flow. I'm absolutely enjoying it. I hope you feel it. And being in the flow is my new passion. Be in the flow as much as possible. Next few things which can make you into happiness is that have a love of new learning. Be a constant learner until your last day of your life. Being a student every day until last day of your life. Learn new things. And learn new things can be anything. It could be, I can learn cooking, I can learn new concepts, I can learn about Shakespeare. Matter of fact, I just bought some books on it. I can learn about different philosophy, which I've been doing it. So learn new things. And then you have an intrinsic motivation to learn. I should not be thinking what rewards I will get extrinsically, like not more income, not better body, but it should be an intrinsic motivation, something for the joy of doing it, including exercise, for the joy of doing it, not because I want to lose weight or I want to look better, but something which I enjoy thoroughly just by doing it. And again, my joy of walking steps has become almost like very implicit thing. I do it subconsciously. And there are two kind of people. There's a people with growth mindset, and there are people with a fixed mindset. A great book by Carol Dweck, look her up. And there's a great book called Mindset, Growth Mindset and a Fixed Mindset. People with growth mindset, they think that hard work will make difference, and their level of growth is dependent upon how hard work they put in, how smart their work put in, how deliberate practice they have. Again, concept of deliberate practice is also very important by I think Anders Ericsson. Great concept of deliberate practice. If you want to grow in any field, deliberate practice is very important. Deliberate practice means doing slightly more challenging than you did it last time, wherever your level is. So if you want to grow in tennis, play slightly harder tennis with a person who is slightly better than you, and keep increasing that level by deliberate practice if you want to be a better tennis player. So deliberate practice is very important. So people with growth mindset do a lot of deliberate practice. They focus on learning, not on outcomes. For them, they can see their mistakes and they learn from their mistakes. They're very resilient. So again, these are the qualities of a growth mindset. People who have a fixed mindset, they are exactly opposite. The next topic brings up for being happy is being kind. So kindness is very important to be happy. And the most important kindness starts with kindness to ourselves. Self-compassion. Very important if described in Tibetan philosophy. It says that all kindness starts with yourself. I should be kind to myself first. If I'm kind to myself, if I'm forgiving myself from certain of my mistakes, then I'll be kind to other people. Typically, kind people are happier, and also happy people are kinder. So we should all have one or more kind of kindness, act of kindness every day. Like just holding a door open for a person coming behind you is an act of kindness. Buying once in a while a coffee for a coworker or for a stranger is an act of kindness. Also, some donations are also considered an act of kindness. So the donations also make you happier, make you more immune to mental illness. And it's proven now that even donating as small as $5 provides you more happiness. So don't think that you have to donate any large money. Just donate $5 for a person who has no money can buy a meal. So again, donating money or donating a material item, donating a meal or buying a meal or a coffee for a person who cannot afford it will give you happiness. There's another thing that which is something I also try to practice in my life, that how to handle regrets. We all have certain regrets in our life that I wish I'd done that. And regret, many times people live in regrets. A lot of people on last day of their life have a lot of regrets. Number one, do your actions right now in such a way that you will have minimum regrets. But at the same time, if you want to think about regrets of omission last longer versus regrets of commission. So many times, if I have an option, if I have a choice, I should be doing something, because doing things will have a less regrets than omitting something. So again, that's how the regrets work. So always take an action. Action always is important. Courage is always very important. Even it's proven that the words we use in our daily life also produce certain happiness. Also, it can diagnose, it can also tell us how happy we are. Even our facial expressions can tell how happy we are, how happy we will be. So there was a famous nun study. Nuns were analyzed based on what they wrote, what all those nuns wrote in their 20s and 30s. And this was 50 years ago. All the nuns were in their 60s and 70s and 80s. So what they wrote in their journal, what kind of words they used, and those words predicted not only how the nuns were happy in their 70s and 80s and how long they live. The nuns who wrote positive words like joy, happiness, thank you, gratitude, versus some of the negative words in their journal, those nuns live long. Those nuns live up to 90s and 100s. So again, what words you use in your daily life is also very important. Learn to use positive words. There was also a great study where the women were seen in their high school pictures, high school graduation pictures, and if they had a genuine smile on their high school graduation pictures, it predicted 30, 40 years later how happy they were, how depressed they were, and how their marriage was going, how many of the women had a divorce. So again, just a genuine smile, your expression can predict how happy you are. And actually, there is a method that if somebody can witness a 30-minute conversation between two people, it can predict how the relationship will last short term and long term. So how words we use in your conversation is also very important. Like I described earlier, have an active, constructive conversation. Again, How to handle worries is also very important, because worries is also another reason for people get unhappy. So again, how you handle the worries. In my opinion, we should have a fixed time every day to worry. I call worry time. So assign about 10 to 15 minutes in the evening for your worries. Hopefully you have less time you need. Maybe some people can have only 2 minutes of worrying. But if you are a worrying person, assign 10 to 15 minutes every evening when you sit down in a quiet, private room with a pen and paper, write or on your phone, write down all your worries and how you can overcome them. And make a running list of all your worries. Because most worries, I would say 99.99 worries never materialize. But when that worry is going through our mind, we always think of doom coming on. So write down your worries, because you will reflect back 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, that most of your worries never materialize. So have a fixed time for worries and write down your worries. Keep a running journal of your worries. I have a great journaling video which describes how to write a worrying journal. Also, increase your adversity quotient. Adversity quotient was concept by Paul Stolz. He has written a book on adversity quotient. Read that book, because it's very important how you overcome your adversities. Again, they say in Japanese language that fall 7 times but get up 8 times. Fall 7 times but get up 8 times. So again, if I fall 7 times, but if I get up 8 times, I will be fine. So have a high adversity quotient. And that brings us to our next quote. Again, I wish you can see it on the screen. And that quote is from great Mahatma Gandhi, who says, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. And again, the great great quote from Happiness, he said that my life is my message. My life is my message. So for all of us, we should be living our life. We should be message to our family members, our spouse, our friends, our kids, our further, great kids, great grandkids. Our life should be our message, not what we say, but what we practice and what we act. And that will bring us another way of happy. Again, this concludes our segment. It brings us to our next reflection segment. What was your act of kindness in last 24 hours? I'm sure you had one act of kindness. If not, you need to. But what was your act of kindness? Last 24 hours or last 1 week, do you recall when you got into the flow state? Whether either you were cooking, or you were meditating, or you were at work, or you were walking, or doing anything, or you were playing a sport, you were playing tennis, when you got into the flow state. Like I said, getting in the flow state is very important. More you are in the flow state, more chances of happiness. Also, what adversities you have overcome. What adversities you have overcome. And what upward spiral you can start. What an experience, what an event you can start, which will lead to many consequent events in an upward spiral, lead you to happiness journey. So this concludes our current segment. Please like on our Facebook page. Please share. Please watch on YouTube. Like our YouTube channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Aajay Shah. That brings us to our segment 7. I know this is a long Facebook Live. I put in a lot of efforts. I wish you could have seen the slide. This starts our next segment, segment 7. This is Dr. Aajay Shah again. This is our segment 7 on happiness Facebook Live. That brings us next thing, which is very important about positive and negative emotions. Positive and negative emotion. There's a great book by Barbara Fredrickson called Positivity. I read that book in one setting in like 3.5 hours. It's that good of a book. I highly recommend to buy book Positivity, a great book. Read it. It essentially gets into positive and negative emotions. So positive emotions gives us sense of well-being, sense of accomplishment, while negative emotions keeps us grounded and make us cautious for the future threats. So again, both positive and negative emotions are important. And the ratio is more important. a positive to negative emotion ratio is very important. Your ratio of positive to negative emotion should be 3-to-1 or higher. That means you should have more positive emotion than negative emotion. Ratio should be 3-to-1 or higher. When the ratio of positive to negative emotion is 1-to-1, you have very high chance of depression, very high chance of being unhappy. And as you recall from negativity bias and our impact bias, negative emotions leads to more chance of depression and unhappiness. You can take a test on this positivity at Barbara Fredrickson's website called positivityratio.com. Go and take your test for positivity ratio. I took my test. My positive ratio was 9.0. I am by nature a very positive person. My positive emotions are much more higher than my negative emotions. So what are the positive emotions? Positive emotions are joy, gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, pride, amusement, inspiration, awe, and love. Those are the positive emotions. So what are the negative emotions? Negative emotions are irritated feeling, angry feeling, annoying feeling, ashamed, humiliated feeling, disgraced feeling, hate, disgust, embarrassed feeling, self-conscious feeling, guilty feeling, regret feeling, blame feeling, distress feeling, sad feeling, envy feeling, jealousy feeling, unhappy feeling, fearful feeling, stressed feeling, nervous feeling, afraid feeling, and overwhelmed feeling. Obviously, there are a lot more negative emotions than positive emotions. There are truly actually only 12 positive emotions. Barbara Fredrickson describes 12 positive emotions. Look up the list. I already described to you positive emotions. The most important positive emotion, if any of you can guess, I'll give you a few seconds. The most important positive emotion is love. Matter of fact, when the love emotion is recreated, when you feel the positive emotion of love, many other positive emotions are simultaneously created. So if you want to have one positive emotion, have the positive emotion of love, and that will create many of the other 12 positive emotions automatically. So create the positive emotion of love. And again, today we posted on our Facebook page that the most important way of getting happy is love and to be loved. Love and to be loved. Let me get some water. It's been almost 2 hours. Hope you're liking it. It's a long segment, long Facebook Live, and I'm enjoying it. I'm in the flow. Hopefully you're enjoying it. You're also getting in the flow of learning. So again, very important to have positive emotions. The way I have done it, I've made a small print of positive and negative emotions. I printed that out and I have put it on my back of my phone, and whenever I have time, I look at those positive emotions and negative emotions, and I try to be in positive emotions. Like I said, by nature, I'm a very positive person, and my positive ratio was more than 9 out of 10, but I still make a habit of looking at the positive emotion so I can stay as positive as I can be. Obviously, we all can grow into positive emotions. But at the same time, like I said, positive and negative emotions both are needed. And it says that sadness and gladness succeed each other. Sadness and gladness succeed each other. So positive and negative emotions, they both come in cycles. Just like in our language, this says sukh and dukh are part of life. Sukh comes, that means happiness comes, joy comes, and dukh, that means unhappiness comes, misery comes, and they both come one after other. They both keep coming through the life. But again, creating positive to negative emotions ratio of 3-to-1 or more is very important. At the same time, I sincerely believe that the pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We all go through certain type of pain, losing job, losing house, losing spouse, losing parents. There are a lot of pain happening in life, but suffering is our own option. We don't need to suffer. There is another method which is described by, again, Martin Seligman, father of positive psychology, the founder of positive psychology. It says that every night before you go to sleep, Ask simple question. It will take you 1 minute to ask this question. What 3 things went well in your life today and why? It will take you literally 1 to 2 minutes to think it through. Make a habit of asking every night. You can do it even in the bed. What 3 things went well in your life and why? And if you do that for 1 week, I can assure you, I can guarantee you, he guarantees that based on a science, based on research, that if you ask this question just 1 week every night, what things went well and why? And show some gratitude, you will be happier, you will have less chance of depression. So very important you ask this question every night, what things went well. It brings another great quote by Helen Keller. It says, joy is the holy fire that keeps our purpose warm and our intelligence aglow. Very important. That brings our next important way of staying happy, and that's a life, and that's a purpose and meaning. Again, if you remember PERMA, P-E-R-M-A, P, positive emotions, E, engagement or the flow, which we already talked about it, R, the relationship, which we already talked about it. Next, it brings to the meaning and purpose, which we will talk about it now. And the final thing is the achievements. So again, the role of meaning and purpose and well-being is very important. If you remember the Viktor Frankl, the great philosopher, great psychologist, who has written the book, The Man's Search for Meaning, Man's Search for Meaning. So meaning is very important. In Japanese language, the word ikigai, people who have meaning, people who wake up in the morning knowing why they are waking up, live long, they're healthier, they're more disciplined, they're more successful, they are more material things in life. So again, having a purpose in life is very important. People with purpose also have very low chance of suicide. Almost they don't commit suicide because they have a mission to go to, their purpose to go to. They wake up for a reason every morning. They also live very long. They also recover from the illness very quickly. So people with cancer, people with after a heart attack, people after stroke, if they have a purpose, to give you an example, a grandfather who has a purpose to see grandson or granddaughter's graduation or grandson or granddaughter's marriage will live longer just with that purpose in that life, mission in that life. There's another concept which has been lately been described. It's called a psychological immunization. Just like we have immunization for different disease like measles, there's a concept of psychological immunization. And psychological immunization is creating certain habits in life which will immunize to having mental disorders, will immunize to provide you more happiness. So again, it's very important we talk about psychological immunization. And my hope is that one day primary care physicians will provide this psychological immunization just like they provide other vaccines and other immunization. There are some other things which will go through a laundry list which will make you happy, which will give you mental well-being, and we'll have flourishing. The important thing is sunlight. Every day, 30 minutes of sunlight is very important. Having enough vitamin D, take a supplement if necessary. Having enough omega-3 to prevent many mental illness with seeds like flax seeds or chia seeds or small amount of nuts. Eating whole food plant-based diet. Having less animal products and less processed food. Having ability to venting out your mental issues with a friend or with a loved one, with a spouse. Psychological counseling or seeing a psychiatrist if necessary. Taking a psychiatric medications, antidepressants if necessary. All those things are important. Knowing the difference between need, want, and how to. I need healthy food versus I want go out to the restaurant. It's my want. And then how to. I have to go to a restaurant. So keeping our how to the minimum, our want to very low level, and just satisfying what our body needs, what our mind needs. For example, for me, one of the healthy want to is having a book, but I should be not I have to have a book. I should just be able to sit and relax without a book. But again, that's my addiction. Reading books truly is my how to, my want to, and I enjoy it. It's almost my need to. Having a religious, spiritual practice, going to a church, going to mosque, going to synagogue, going to temple, very important. At least having some kind of spiritual practice. Also having this, I call it eustress and rest. Eustress is very important concept. Eustress means having enough amount of stress that keeps you motivated, but not too much stress to give you high cortisol level and give you a lot of distress. So having a eustress and then having a period of rest. So cycling of eustress and the rest is very important. Matter of fact, people who cycle eustress and rest are happier, live long, and are more successful, because we all need recovery. Just like I said, after a hard work at work, after exercise, we all need 7 hours of sleep, and that's a eustress and rest. Forgiveness is very important also to be happy and to prevent many mental illness. I will record a separate video on forgiveness. It's on YouTube. It's about 20 minutes long. We all have somebody in our life which we need to forgive. Watch that video and you will learn a lot of things, lot of tricks, a lot of importance of forgiveness. Having a perfect life versus optimal life. Sometimes being perfectionist brings a lot of unhappiness, a lot of anxiety. I call it an optimal life now. So I want to live an optimal life, the best I can, versus the perfect life I want. So again, not a perfect marriage, not a perfect house, not a perfect job. An optimal marriage, an optimal relationship, optimal house, optimal car, optimal job. Again, learning a concept of optimal thing, not a perfect thing. Overcoming your fears also brings you happiness. So whatever fears you have, overcome that. It will give you a new sense of confidence and it will make you more happy, less chance of depression. Observe and learn from people who you think are happy. I think I learn best by mimicking people from the best teacher, whether they are from people from the past or people who are in your current life, having current friends, current elders, current co-workers. If you think that they are happy, see what they do, see what habits they have, and learn and mimic from those habits. Definitely smile more, laugh more. Laughter is the best medicine. That's our next slide. I wish you can see it. Well, I have a great kid with the biggest smile on this planet, on this universe, where it says laughter is the best medicine. Next thing brings up an important topic is the role of optimism. Optimistic people are happy. Optimistic people have less mental disorder. Optimistic people have less chance of depression. Optimism is just a habit of thinking. Optimism can be learned. Optimism can be improved. People who are optimistic think that whatever happens, it happens rarely to them, not every day. They just don't think that way. Optimistic people think that whatever bad event happen will only last short time. Optimistic people think that whatever happened is a normal part of ups and downs of life. Optimistic people think that it wasn't their fault. Optimistic people think that whatever bad thing happened is only a small part of their life, not their whole life. This is not the whole gloom and doom in their life. Optimistic people think that I can fix what happened. Optimistic people think that what I do will make the difference. And definitely optimistic people think that there is a value of doing some action. So three P's are very important: permanent, pervasive, and personal. Optimistic people think that whatever happened is not permanent. Optimistic people think that it's not pervasive in their whole life. It's only a small part of their life. And optimistic people think it's not because of their personal fault. People think that it happens for a variety of reasons. You can take an optimism test. I highly recommend to take an optimism test, see how optimistic person you are. Because optimistic people live happy, live long, they are physically healthier, and we all can learn how to be optimistic. Matter of fact, there is enough proof that pessimist people actually, after a heart attack, they have very high chance of second heart attack and very high chance of dying. Pessimist people, if you are actually in the last quintile of pessimism or pessimistic people, it's as bad as smoking 2.5 packs per day. So if you think smoking is very bad for you, being pessimist is actually equally bad for you. There's another concept called learned helplessness. people who have given up on doing any action. People literally have decided that no matter what they do is not going to make any difference. This is called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is one of the major reason people get in depression and cannot come out of depression. People who have anxiety, people who have very high suicide rate, people who are unhappy for life, and that's called learned helplessness. We need to break the cycle of learned helplessness. I wish nobody go through learned helplessness, but we all go through that. I have gone through my fair share of learned helplessness. I have done certain actions, certain habits to come out of that learned helplessness. I want all of you, if you are going through any learned helplessness, to break that learned helplessness and grow out of it. So there is a way of increasing your optimism. And I'll show you, I learned this thing from a great video from Martin Seligman, and it's a ABCDE method. ABCDE method. And A stands for adversity. That means whatever event happened. A. B for believe, how you think about that event. C for consequences, what that event will lead to in your life. And then D and E is the solution. D is the distraction and dispute, and E is the energize. So let's give you an example. Let's see that you are on a healthy diet. You are trying to eat healthy, and you unfortunately went out for the friends and you had a slice of pizza. So that slice of pizza was an adverse event because you are trying to be in a healthy diet mode. So slice of pizza was an adverse event. So obviously you'll be very pessimistic because you broke your diet rule. So adversity is the pizza, eating a slice of pizza, not a whole pizza, just slice of pizza. So your belief is that you actually broke my diet. I'm not a very disciplined person. I'm not a very strong person. This is going to doom my diet. This is going to make me fat again. This is going to put me through some anxiety. This is going to put me through depression. So those are your beliefs. And the consequences, because you thought that way, now you gave up on your healthy eating. And not only you had the slice of pizza at the restaurant, but you came home and you had a whole container of ice cream because you became pessimistic. So consequences were very bad. So again, adversity, belief, and consequences. So how can you prevent that? Adversity is going to happen periodically. Beliefs are going to happen periodically. You'll go through all the beliefs. Consequences can happen. But how can you prevent that? That's where two things come in: dispute and distraction. Distraction is simple. Whatever you are thinking, you just say stop. You have a stop card with you, or you have a stop in your phone on the screen, where you just say stop thinking your beliefs because your beliefs are wrong. And sometimes it's hard when you are in the chain of thinking to think a stop. You can do it, but it's very hard. But dispute is an easy matter. Dispute is an easy way of coming out of the pessimistic thought. And I'll give you the same example. You had a slice of pizza. You have believed that you broke your diet. You are not a strong person. You are going to go through the doom of, gaining a weight, and you come home and eat ice cream. But you can dispute. As soon as you come home after eating that slice of pizza, you sit down and you start disputing your pessimism. You said that you have followed the diet for last 2 weeks, so you are a strong-willed person. You only had one slice of pizza, which is only about 150 calories. Maybe the dinner, a healthy dinner, is not that much different than the calories. You can say that maybe you only had a slice of pizza, you did not have a beer, you did not have a cookie, what your other friends had. So you can dispute. And you can also say that one slice of pizza is not going to make you fat, because one slice of pizza, 150 calories, that's probably whatever, 200 grams of weight. And you can just diet it off next day. So you can dispute your beliefs, and disputing is much more easier than just stopping your thinking. So have a dispute, and then when you have that dispute, you will have the last E, which you will energize. And because you dispute your pessimistic thought, you will become energized with optimism, and you will break the cycle of pessimism. So again, A, B, C, D, E, A for adversity, B for belief, C for consequences, D for dispute and distract, and E for energize. If you do that, you have a very high chance of becoming optimistic. So this concludes our current segment. Next segment is again a reflection. So what was your last optimistic experience? How optimistic you are? Again, we all have different level of optimism. Take your optimistic test, how optimistic you are. And the next question for the reflection is, do you get enough sunlight? Obviously, some of us don't get enough sunlight living in Michigan. At the same time, you can buy 10,000 lux light, 10,000 lux artificial light, and put it in your kitchen or wherever you are in the morning and expose yourself for 30 minutes. I have 10,000 lux light for last 11 years in our house, and I expose myself every winter with the 10,000 lux light. You all can do that. You can buy it for like $20 or $30 on Amazon. Worth an investment. You will go through less depression, less seasonal affective disorder. Worth the investment. Did you forgive anybody last 1 month? Do you need to forgive anybody? So again, forgiveness is very important. And last, most important, what is your life purpose? What is your life purpose? Knowing your life purpose will automatically give you happiness, will give you joy. Again, purpose and meaning is one part of PERMA. This concludes our current segment. Please share this video. Please like it on Facebook. Please watch it on YouTube. Next brings us our segment number 8. Again, this is a long Facebook Live. This is Dr. Shah, segment number 8. Segment number 8 is a very important, and it goes into continuing what else makes us happy. And that's where the concept of happiness booster comes in. Happiness boosters. We all have certain things in our life which makes us happy. Not just short-term happy, but long-term happy. Find those happiness boosters and keep doing it. Make a list of happiness boosters. Happiness boosters. For me, happiness booster is coming home every evening, saying hi to my wife, eating a dinner with her, having a nice conversation, and then start walking and reading in our kitchen. We have a big kitchen, so every evening I walk 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, reading a book and walking same time. That's my happiness booster. And I do that every day. Every day. I do 7 days a week. That's my happiness booster. Doing Facebook Live is my happiness booster. And you can see it. I do it Facebook Live as often as I can. So again, have a happiness booster and practice every day. Other concept is creating a happiness advisory board. I got that concept from Tal Ben-Shahar, a great psychologist from Harvard, that creating a happiness advisory board. In my opinion, creating happiness should be creating a corporation. And final product of that corporation is the happiness. That's your final product. And having an advisory board, that board member could be your spouse, your kids, your friends, your family members, and constantly coaching you, guiding you, watching you, critiquing you whenever you are going off the track of producing the final product of happiness. So have a happiness corporation where you create a final product of happiness. There's an app called Rewire app. You can download that product. That product gives you different tips and different way of tracking what things make you happy. A great app to download and track it. Rewire app. Obviously, we cannot not discuss the role of social media, TV, and internet when we talk about happiness. So all of us are on Facebook. You are on Facebook right now. I'm on Facebook probably more than I should, but we all are on Facebook. Some of us are on Instagram. Some of us are on Twitter. We all watch TV news and we all watch tons of Netflix shows. We all are on YouTube, and most of us are on some kind of text messaging. All Indians are on WhatsApp. So again, these are the social media which we all are on. So how can we use social media and TV and other things in a very creative, very productive way. So what are the pros of being on Facebook? That's my favorite topic because I'm on Facebook all the time. So first, Facebook can easily keep you in touch with multiple people at the same time. You can post something and all your friends, your family members can read it and you can stay in touch with them. You can see the pictures of your loved ones, of your kids, of your grandkids on Facebook. You can even show videos. You can see videos also. It's a new learning platform. Like right now, I'm teaching all of you how to be happy on Facebook same time instead of giving a lecture at a church or at any other place. With the social distancing, obviously giving a lecture is almost impossible. No, right now with all the guidelines we have, but I still can reach you. So Facebook can be utilized in a very creative way of teaching platform. I can make different interest group on Facebook, like we have a weight loss group on Facebook, and all the even-minded people with a similar needs and similar life philosophy can be in that same group. I can teach many people at the same time. Like this video can be watched in India, can be watched anywhere in the world. Obviously, Facebook is free, but again, it's quote-unquote free. It's not free because I'm sure Facebook ads you are watching and you are sometimes subconsciously, implicitly buying certain things which you see on Facebook. So there's no free ride, there's no free lunch. So again, Facebook is free, but not truly free. What are the cons? What are the things which should not be on Facebook? Again, Facebook has shown that it can cause less self-esteem, more anxiety, more panic disorder, more stress, more depression. Obviously, Facebook can be a waste of time. Some people are on Facebook all their waking hours, which should not be happening. Actually, Facebook can also cause a decision fatigue, which is a concept. Every time you like something on Facebook, you made one decision. And we all are given finite decisions per day. And if you use up one of your decisions on Facebook by liking certain thing, you'll be making one less decision during that day because you have used up your finite quota of decisions. So you may be making a light decision and you may actually miss out on an important decision. So Facebook likes can create a decision fatigue. And obviously Facebook can create a lot of envy and a lot of jealousy. So those are some of the things which I don't like about Facebook. So what is the key thing? With Facebook, I always say, not just with Facebook, but with all social media, be the master of social media. Be the master of social media, not the slave of social media. Again, be the master of social media, not the slave of social media. So many times, my wife, kids criticize, or daughter particularly at times criticize that I'm on the Facebook all the time. But I think, and again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I want to think that, but maybe I want to believe that way. But I feel like I'm the master of Facebook. I don't waste any time on Facebook. I literally use Facebook to my advantage. I don't let Facebook use me. So if you know what I'm saying, try to use Facebook to your advantage, not other way around. Next brings up more of a wider, broader understanding, broader concept of community well-being. Because not only I need to be happy, because if I'm happy, or if my neighbor is unhappy, if my town is unhappy, if my country is unhappy, if the world is unhappy, obviously I will not be happy because we all are social animals. So community well-being is very important. So how can we create a community well-being? Community well-being can be created with having more parks, more public transport, more lakes, more library, longer hours, more trails, more bike lanes on the roads, more affordable housing, more food stamps and food for everybody, more health insurance coverage, more psychologists, more psychiatrists, more YMCA, more gyms, more pollution control, better traffic, free education, better life learning schools where everybody can be life learning students. Definitely better way of voting to maintain the democracy. I'm big proponent of mail voting or online voting. Hopefully one day there will be online voting. If I can buy $10,000 item online through my credit card. How can I be not able to do online voting? We should have enough encryption and enough virus-free social media, virus-free internet that I should be able to do online voting. My sincere hope and my belief is that in 5 to 10 years, we will have online voting. Let's see what happens. And the next thing brings up is the workplace well-being. Workplace well-being. Workplace well-being is very important. We talked about it. Corporations and employers, which think of employees' well-being, they do well, they make more profit, the stock price is higher. So corporate well-being is very important also. Matter of fact, U.S. military put all the 1.1 million soldiers through positive psychology training, all the PERMA training, and all the soldiers who went through that training had a less chance of depression, less chance of anxiety, less chance of panic disorder, less chance of suicide, less chance of PTSD, post-traumatic disorder. So positive psychology has proven at a workplace to not just make people happier, but also prevent many mental illness. Obviously, currently we are going through COVID-19 crisis. Many of you are suffering. Many of you unfortunately have lost job. Many of you are going through financial crisis. Many of you are going through a lot of stress. At the same time, let me tell you, all stress we can overcome. All stress should be a seed for new learning, new growth. We can learn how to manage with less money. We can learn how to eat at home, which we all are doing it. There are some positives to this COVID-19 crisis. We are spending more money. We are spending more time at home. We are spending more time with our family. Obviously, some is with FaceTime. We are definitely learning how to cook healthy meals at home. So there are some positives. We'll be definitely becoming less material oriented, how to survive in less income and less money. So there are positive. Obviously, there are negatives. I know some of us are suffering, some of you are suffering, but at the same time, hang in there. This time will be over soon. We are already seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and this crisis will be over soon. At the same time, make this struggle as a seed for new growth. This concludes this segment. Let's have the reflection of this segment. My first question is, how much time you spend on Facebook? Are you using Facebook to your advantage? How much TV do you watch? How much news do you watch? How much CNN, how much Fox do you watch? What are your happiness boosters? What makes you happy? And how much stressed you are with this corona crisis? And how are you using this corona crisis to your advantage? What lessons you are learning from this corona crisis? So again, this concludes our current segment. If you are on Facebook Live, if you are watching later on, please like it, please share it. Next, this is Dr. Aajay Shah. It brings us to our last segment, segment number 9. I know you are hanging in with me for last almost 2.5, 3 hours. This is the longest segment I've ever done. I've enjoyed it most. I hope you have enjoyed it. We'll share it on Facebook. We'll share it on YouTube. Hopefully next time I do it, repeat this segment. This live will be with slides. Slides are great, great pictures, great quotes. Hopefully it will be with slides next time when we do it. So again, we talked about what brings happiness, what things you can do to be happy. At the same time, implementing those things requires actions, requires forming new habits, requires forming new discipline. So how can we be more disciplined? How can we learn new habits? Let's see how can we put this thing in action. So there are a few concepts I want to talk about. The number one concept is creating environment versus willpower. Environment versus willpower. Sometimes we said that if we have a strong willpower, we can create new habits, we can be successful. I don't agree with that. Matter of fact, willpower is the one which I want to rely least on, because some of us don't have strong willpower. Willpower obviously can be increased, but I don't want to rely on the willpower. The thing I want all of you to rely on is the environment. So again, concept of environment versus willpower. To give you an example, our gym, our treadmill, our arc trainer, our bench, weight bench was in the basement. I never went in the basement. because quote unquote my willpower wasn't strong enough. So I never went in the basement. We moved all our exercise equipments in our family room. So I changed my environment. So all those equipments, every time I come home in the evening, I see them when I go to our family room. When I see them, automatically I want to do them, and I do them. My wife is in that room sometimes exercising with me or sitting in a couch. I see them, I talk to her. So I have changed my environment. Now I exercise every day. So again, changing environment is more important than relying on your willpower. To give you a more negative example, if you have cookies at home, no matter how strong your willpower you have, you will eat the cookies. If you don't have cookies at home, you will not eat it. You will not need your willpower. Same way, positive side, if you have healthy vegetables and fruits on your kitchen counter, you will eat them more often because you have created an environment of healthy food in front of your eyes, in front of your mind. So again, creating healthy environment, you will not need to rely on your willpower. So creating an environment is very important. You can also create an environment by creating a group activity. You can create a group activity of exercising together or cooking healthy food together. That will also not rely on your willpower. Also, next thing is very important is goal setting and goal achieving. Goal setting relies on goal specificity, like how you specify your goals. For example, I have a goal of meditating every day. So I have to say, I will meditate 20 minutes every day. So I know how long. I say I will meditate in our sunroom. So I know where I will meditate. I say I will meditate in the evening when I come from work. So I know what time I will meditate. I say whether I will meditate alone or as a group. So I know where and how I'm going to meditate. I know I want to do loving kindness meditation. So I know the type of meditation. So more specificity you have with any kind of habit you want to create, more chance of success of creating that habit. Also, you can have a goal visualization where how you will do it. You can imagine, you can visualize, you can overcome the obstacles. And that's bring us to a great method by one of the great psychologists, Dr. Ottinger, who described this method called WHOOP method, WHOOP. Again, this is from a great Coursera course from Lori Santos, WHOOP method. WHOOP also has a website, WHOOP as a website. WHOOP stands for wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. Wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. So the way it works, you create a wish, what habit you want to create. So my wish is meditation every day. So that's my wish, meditation. My outcome, I visualize the outcome. Like what will be the outcome? I know meditation, we discussed earlier, meditation has certain great benefits in improving your gray matter, less depression, more happiness, longevity, less anxiety, less panic disorder. So I know the outcome of if I do meditation every day. And then I think of obstacles. Obstacles I can think of that I may run late from work, I may not have a free time, I may not have a mood, I may have to attend to my spouse needs, I may have to attend to our kids' needs. Those are my obstacles. And then plan. So how I can overcome those obstacles. So if I have a wish, if I know outcomes, if I know what obstacles can happen, and then if I plan how I can overcome my obstacles. For example, one of the obstacles could be I may run late from the work if I'm on call. Then my plan would be I will just meditate. Instead of 20 minutes, I will meditate for 5 minutes at 9 o'clock at night in our bedroom. So I overcame obstacle in my mind that I meditated less. So I did not do a meditation. I just meditated less. So I was able to visualize a WHOOP method, wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan in my mind, and I already had a ready-made plan if any obstacle came. So you all should do this WHOOP method for any habit you want to create. If you want to create a habit of healthy cooking, go through this WHOOP method. You can look up WHOOP, WHOOP online and you can create an own method. She actually pretty much guarantees and assures that once you get into the habit of whooping yourself, creating this whoop in yourself, it takes less than 5 minutes to create a whoop of any new habit, and then repeating that whoop every night for 1 minute. So again, just 5 minutes of investment into this whoop method, WHOOP, can increase your chance of success of habit creation very tremendously, very great way. So do this whoop method. So again, we are to the end of this great long seminar. So where are we going as an individual and as a society? So my feeling, these are my assessment. I say future of well-being is good. Future of well-being is very good because you are listening to this seminar. I'm on this seminar. I'm learning. I'm spreading the knowledge. I'm taking everybody on the ride with me on this journey of well-being. One day, happiness will become the main currency. Not the money you have, not how big your house you have, not where you live, not the dollar, not the pound, not the yen, not the rupee, but the happiness will be the main currency. One day, all the nations will be ranked by PERMA index, not by their GDP, but by PERMA index. One day, just like industrial revolution, just like internet and digital revolution, one day there will be happiness revolution. Happiness, whole world will be happy. There will be a happiness revolution. One day, just like we teach science, math, English in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, postgraduate, those things, one day there will be a course on PERMA throughout our life, and PERMA education will continue throughout our life. And one day our goals will be measured in PERMA goals. Actually, the PERMA score for the world is improving, and I know that because violent deaths, many of you probably cannot guess right, because we are all right now poisoned by this media, typically the news, how violent our society has become. In Syria, and many of these people unfortunately dying with COVID crisis, thousands of people. But just to give you one statistic, the violent death 2,500 years ago was 1 in 10 for male. 1 in 10 male died of a violent death just 2,500 years ago. Tons of war, lot more wars than wars we have right now. And the number for violent death right now in the world is 1 in 300. So violent death has gone down significantly. So we are in a happier time. We definitely are happier than before. So PERMA score is improving. We are not done yet, but one day PERMA score, in my opinion, will be 10 out of 10 for all of us. It's going to take a deliberate practice. It's going to take a lot of whoop method, but we all can be happier day by day. So what do? I try to follow what I said in last 3 hours every day. I tell my family, I tell my wife, I tell my friends every day the happiness will be our main goal. My PERMA score is very high. I earned it. I try to keep the score high. Obviously, I can be always happier. I always use my signature strength, like my signature strength is love of learning. I try to learn every day something new. And I always try to look at my positive emotions. So again, Merle Haggard says, a big singer, great quote on my screen. He says, I'm happier because I guess I made up my mind to be that way. Again, I'm happier. I guess I made up my mind to be that way. And it applies 100% to me. I've made up my mind to be happier. I have made up my mind to be happier. I want all of you to make up your mind to be happier. So let's go through the final slide, your homework. Do your PERMA test today. Do it today or tomorrow. Do your VIA signature strength test today or tomorrow. Start your gratitude journal today. 3 minutes, start your gratitude journal. Start your happiness journal. Exercise every day, eat healthy, whole food, plant-based, sleep 7 hours, meditate. Read books on happiness. I've given all the names. Watch YouTube videos on happiness. Make a one habit of every night asking what went well, what 3 things went well, and why it went well. Have strong connections, have family, have friends. Be in the flow as much as possible, at least once a day. And use social media with as much caution as you can. Be a master of social media. And again, I will end with the quote by Aristotle, one of my favorite philosopher, Greek philosopher. A great quote. I already said it once, but I'm going to repeat that quote one more time. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and the end of human existence. So happiness, in my opinion, is the most important thing in my life, your life, and everybody's life. So I will end with this 3-hour marathon on happiness. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Share on your Facebook page. Thank you. Have a great afternoon. This will be on video. This will be with slides next time. Thank you again. Keep spreading happiness. Keep being happy. Thank you.